That's pretty good.
I don't trust you.
Whatever. We're a couple milliseconds off. Whatever. No one cares.
Guess we'll find out.
If you care, let us know somewhere.
Discord and tell us. Or Twitter, or anywhere.
Anywhere. You know what I've noticed in the past... Well, I guess in the past month we haven't talked, but...
Hold on. First, we have to say, hello, Melissa.
Yes. And also we have to say, we're not saying hello to Eric.
Okay.
So, Eric, we're not saying hello to you. Hello, Melissa. Actually, you know what? Melissa, please say hello to Eric for us.
There you go.
There we go. See? This is how it works.
If he even gets that.
He'll see it in July. Okay, in the past month, I have noticed, this is a very random observation, there are no, like, crappy cars anymore. Have you noticed that?
I've noticed that before.
I'm not saying crappy as in, like, there's cars that have issues, sure, like, everyone has a lemon, but, like, you know, like, the rusted out, like, rust buckets that you used to see?
Yeah, that's what I figured you meant.
Yeah.
That's what I've thought of before. Like, you don't see people driving cars till they fall apart quite as much as you used to.
And maybe it's because of the area we're living in. Like, there's a lot more money in our area than there used to be. And so we're just seeing that uptick. I don't know if it's like if you went to Toronto.
Because if you watch, you'll also see a lot higher density of expensive cars as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, just watch for Teslas alone. It's like, well, there's a high ratio of Teslas in this area.
Yeah. Like, for comparison...
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. So... I'm also from a small town, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I go up there, I want to say there's more beaters.
I would hope so.
They just don't look like beaters as much.
Yeah. Like, for example,
it could also do with...
Go ahead. I
was going to say, it could also do with law enforcement. Like, if you have something that's dangerous on the road, you know, it needs to be taken off for safety. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be part of that where they can hand out tickets and have been more, maybe. I don't know for sure.
Yeah. So, like, last week I saw a Pontiac Sunfire and I got excited. I was like, oh,
right?
A Sunfire. When did
I had someone who told me they drove a Sunfire recently. And I'm like, really? It's still alive?
But this one actually looked good. Like, it wasn't, like, rusted. It was in good shape. I'm like, dang, that thing's going to be a classic. Hard to believe. And then this week I saw a Cavalier, and even then I'm just like, you know, I did the head turn. Ooh, Cavalier.
Yeah. Yeah, Cavalier was a little longer than Sunfire, though. They had one generation after Sunfire ended, I think.
But even think about what came after Cavalier. Like, the Cobalt replaced the Cavalier.
Yeah, the Cobalt. Yep.
You don't see any Cobalts anymore.
No, you don't.
And those...
They did a redesign, and it wasn't very successful, so they killed it off, as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Crazy.
I could Google it, but...
No, it's fine. But anyway, that was my random observation this week.
Yeah, I did notice that as well. In the last couple of years, I've noticed that.
No one driving, you know, crappy Hondas.
And maybe just don't notice it as much. I don't know.
But I would. Because I've always been a car person, and I've always looked at cars. And I'm also on the road every day. Yeah,
that's the difference. Is I am working from home. I am not leaving the house for the last since January now. But the before that, it was 1 year I was in the office, so I was still going to work. But no one else was, so you see less cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There was one person at work I remember a couple years ago that had like literally the side of the car was rusted and gone. I think it was a Mazda 3.
Well, yeah, those things didn't last very long either.
Yeah. So. And maybe that's also part of it, is cars don't last as long as they used to.
That's true, too.
Because it's just like appliances. You used to be able to buy a fridge and it'll last you for 25 years. Now you buy a fridge, it's going to last you, 4 at the most?
I would hope more than 4. I would hope for 8 at least.
The warranty is 2 if you're lucky.
Yeah, well.
On dishwashers.
Warranties are a scam anyway.
Stoves. Yeah. But now they're engineered to fail, because if you don't need to put that much parts into it, you can get people buying a new one quicker.
Planned obsolescence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing.
Fill those landfills.
More work for me. I'll fill those landfills. Speaking of landfills, I had such a time last week. So I had to take some garbage in Stratford from here. So anything outside of our region are very picky about what you dump in their landfill, as they should be. I'm not saying they're wrong. But
Okay.
this place, they don't accept metal in the landfill at all. So if you say you've got
That's
metal,
odd because metal's usually worth more.
you would think they just don't want to. They don't want to separate it. If I had it separated, they would take it. But if I'm dumping just a dumpster of garbage, I don't know what's in it. So they say, "Is there metal in it?" I say, "I don't know, maybe." So then I pull up. They open the doors. They look. They say, "Okay, go ahead." I dump it, and then all the metal's been buried at the bottom, at the front, where I can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent. This is exactly what happened. And then I picked up over, what was it, 500 pounds I had to pick up of metal and put back into a bin and then take it elsewhere. I was there for 45 minutes picking up metal.
And as you told me before, wasting time on the job does not help you with your day ending earlier. You still have to do the same number of jobs that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which sucks.
So yeah.
Me, if something turns out to be more work than I thought, then that's fine. My day still ends at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I could probably call my dispatch and be like, "Hey, things are slowing down. Like, I can't get all this done."
Yeah.
And they're usually pretty understanding, but at the same time, I was not expecting to, move that amount of weight.
Yeah.
I was very sore that day. It's not even that much, but I'm just so out of shape.
Right? At least you leave the house. I walk up the stairs to get lunch and I'm like, I'm exhausted.
Give me my lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So, how's things with you? What's new?
What's new? Tomorrow, I hope I should be able to order the Steam Deck.
Ooh. Did you get an email saying
That
possibly?
No, the
or?
email comes tomorrow,
Okay.
if at all.
Okay.
I'm in the slot, which should be able to order starting tomorrow, but it depends on where in that,
Where in that slot you are?
like, in that slot I am, yeah. Like, if I ordered early enough, then I'll be one of the first people. I know the website was having issues when I did do the pre-order, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's, like, afternoon or the next day when I get my ability to order.
Yeah.
But it also is apparently region specific. I don't know whether ours are coming from within Canada or coming from the States. So I don't know if we're lumped in with Canada. When people were trying to figure out how many orders there were with some API calls and stuff, they lumped Canada and the US together. So it's possible ours are coming from the States. I don't know.
Yeah. Very likely.
Yep. But I don't know anybody else personally that has has a Q1. Everyone else, like you're after Q2. My cousin is Q2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm in a Facebook group for Steam Deck people now, and I just looked at Reddit for it yesterday as well.
Man, you're going all in.
Yeah, a little bit. Currently, 10% of the games I own are verified as good to play on it. But they're not done verifying games yet.
Yeah, that will take forever.
Just last week I checked and it was only 8% of my games, so it's gone up.
It's gone up. I mean, very likely that most will work. I mean, if it's just a PC, right? So.
Yeah, and I do have a lot of VR games, which are of course not
going
to
to
be
work, of course.
supported on
Yeah.
it. So there's that percentage thrown right out the window.
Yeah, that's understandable though.
Yep, and again, I can always just stream it from my PC. I have my gaming PC, which has more power. I can just stream the game from there in my house and play them if they're too resource intensive or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's that option as well.
Yeah, true.
Steam Deck.
Cool.
I also bought a new Yeti mic right in front of me.
Yes,
if you see,
I see that one.
I think I sent you a picture of it or not.
You did. You sent me a picture of 3 Yeti mics.
That's because I already had 2. Yes. So I sold one, and I have another one still, the black one that I repaired the USB connector on.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I want to sell that just because I repaired it. I don't know. It's probably better than new as it is because it broke once. and I fixed it. But then after that fix, it still broke again. I think it was just a matter of not having the connector in the board good enough. And I bought a brand new connector, and they're just not quite like the connections aren't quite as long. But
Yeah.
this time I think I did much better. I added more solder, and yeah, I think it's on there better.
Good.
And I used it for about a week for work, and it was fine. But then I bought this one, so who cares? So that's my backup now. So this one's the exact same microphone. It's the black, but it has the arm, the Yeti brand, like the blue brand arm for it.
Yep.
So it's pretty strong. It has the blue shock mount as well.
Yeah.
I already had the old Radius shock mount, but this is the newer one, which is way smaller, so it doesn't hit my head. And the best part about this microphone is the mute button is so quiet. Did you even hear it?
I didn't hear that at all.
It's so quiet. It's like a soft press instead of a click.
For comparison,
There's still a click.
For comparison, this is mine. I don't think you would hear
exactly.
it. I don't know if you did or
I
not.
did actually hear it
You
that
did?
second.
Okay, yeah.
It's so quiet. So that alone is nice. And then because this microphone came in the kit with the arm, it actually doesn't have the screws for the sides, and there's little rubber covers over the side
Oh,
holes.
wow, that's cool.
I didn't know that was a thing, but hey.
Hey, whatever
Kinda
works.
cool. So this was the Yeti caster kit is what they call it.
Yeti caster. Ooh.
Yes.
Sounds very official.
That's what the arm and the shock mount. And then I already had the pop filter.
Yeah. Cool.
But this thing's way too big in my face. For work, I put it further away and up, but
Yeah. That's
this
okay.
is a
You can
podcast.
yell
I want
then.
good audio. Yeah, yeah. It's not bad to be that far away. It just gets more background noise.
Yeah. A little bit more echoey,
It has to
maybe.
amplify everything.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So sold the Yeti, bought a Yeti. Not in that order.
Did you
I
sell
bought
the Yeti
first.
for something comparable for what you bought this one for?
I sold for... What did I even sell it for? Man, now I forget how much I sold it for. I think it was 55.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. It was
Either 50
yeah, it was
Oh, wait,
55.
wasn't this the guy that tried to like
Oh, there was a lot of people who
try
tried
to
to
like
offer me
super lowball
really
you?
terrible offers.
Oh.
Like, what was the? I should have had that queued up, but I forgot. Yeah, one guy's like, "What's the lowest you'll take?" I think I said I had it listed for 65, I think, and he said, "Would you take?" Or he said, "What's the lowest you'll take?" I said like 50, maybe, or 55, and he's like, "I'll give you 20." It's like, come on, man.
You're not even trying.
Yeah. Yeah. I said, have a nice day. And then he said 30, 35, I think, or
I
something.
thought you
like
said
that.
like 23 or something like that. Like you put it up like
Yeah, it
$3.
was ridiculous. I forget. 36 was one offer. I don't remember. I had a lot of people offer me low amounts for whatever reason, but they were all the kind of people that you totally expect that with the way they talked in their chat
Yeah.
and how they just didn't care. It's like, why are you even? Don't even talk to me. Yeah.
It's so true. I mean, to people who don't sell a lot, it probably just sounds rude, but honestly,
Yeah.
we are very judgmental of how people approach us as people who sell a lot. Like, if I see someone using a lot of like, I want to say slang, but just like text slang or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's a
in
big
short
indicator.
forms and not refusing to spell check anything.
If you have a spell U with the letter U
Yeah.
and C with the letter C, I know it's going to be a painful conversation.
And likely one
know
that's
it.
not going to pan out.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So anyway, I didn't finish explaining. I did pay $150 for the Yeti Caster bundle. It was brand new in the box. Like he had pulled it out and used it. He said he couldn't get it to sound right. This microphone you're listening to. He said he couldn't get it to sound right. My loss is your gain, he said. And he was asking $200. It had gone on sale on Amazon for $220 a few weeks before, but I didn't get an indication that he bought it then because there was so much dust on it. But I talked him down to $150. I offered $150. He said no. Then a few days later, he messaged me back and said, sure. So,
Good.
to which I, of course, said, I'll
Sweet.
be right there.
You do sound a little bit different to me.
Yeah, it is closer. Last month's episode, I was way over, like cranked up gain.
Yeah.
I listened to the episode today. It was terrible.
I didn't think it was that
Oh,
bad.
here's another guy. Here's another guy who offered five. Oh no, that was not him. That was my change. Sorry, I thought it was a guy offered $5, but that was not it. That was me telling the guy who bought it that I had change. Is it available? Yes. Would you like to pick it up? Is the price negotiable? I said within reason to this other guy. He didn't even answer after that. Just didn't answer. And then another guy says 25. I said no.
Yeah.
With my price being 55
Yeah.
on the ad. Another guy said 15. I said no.
Some of those people I don't even respond to. Like it's a waste of my time to even write the words or the letters. No.
Here's the good one. Here's the fun one. Yeah. Is the price negotiable? I said it's already under half of retail. What did you have in mind? He said, "What's your bottom line?" I said 50. He replies back with 30. No dollar sign, no question marks, no words, just 30. I said, "Have yourself a good evening." He said 35. I said 60, which is above my original asking price. He said 36. So then I sent him a meme back of move along. Yeah.
Yeah, some people.
times.
I wonder if that strategy ever works for them.
I don't know. I almost think it must.
It must if people are
It
doing
makes me
it
want to
all-
be a douchebag.
I know.
Just to try it.
See,
Maybe I should create a fake account. Just do it. Just be a douche and see how it works. I'll give you a nickel.
like, I've asked people for discounts, and I've asked for like, but reasonable. Like, here, I'm gonna buy 3 games from someone. Can you knock?
Yeah.
Say the total would be, it would have been $40 for 3 games. I'm like, would you do all 3 for 30? Like, I don't think that's unreasonable. And then I get people saying, "Oh, I could never go that low." I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, you didn't even counter with 35.
Just walk away. Yeah. it's
Didn't-
not even
like,
worth their
where's the
time.
counter? Ugh.
Yep.
So,
I also had somebody 4 weeks ago now message me about I had an Xbox 360 Slim 250 gig inbox. It was a friend of mine's. I know the history of it. It's the original box. Everything's original. Really well taken care of. And someone says, "Hi, is it available?" I said, "Yeah, when would you like to pick it up?" They said, "Is the price negotiable?" I said, "Within reason, yes," which has become my new wording. The person replies back with, "I just need the power cord." Really?
I have a power
I
cord.
said, "It's not that cheap. Call Microplay in Kitchener and see if they have a power cord for a reasonable price."
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's
It'll still be 30
Awesome.
bucks.
still better than 100.
True. I had a guy message me. So I put up an Xbox 360e model, 250 gig hard drive, that had a bunch of games downloaded on it already that I left on there. One of the 3 Xbox 360e bundles that I had, and I was just like, could not move them. Anyways, I had them up for, I think it was 80, and then I realized that one had games on it still. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to put this one up separately as 80 and sell it for in its own ad, basically, and not lump it with the other ones. So I had a bunch of people respond, and then I had this one guy who would like message me, and then I would answer him, and then he would wait 2 days, and then he'd answer me again, and then I'd answer him, and then it'd be another 2 days, and then he'd respond, like this. And you just think it's like one of these people you're just going to like walk away from. Like, what's the point in dealing with this?
Yep.
Anyways, he ended up coming to get it, and he bought it for 80. He also brought a friend with him.
And they bought another one?
And he was like, "Do you have another one?" I said, "Yeah, I have one that doesn't have any games on it." He said, "How much for that?" 60. Okay, I'll take that one. So
Nice.
walked out
Nice.
$150 in one day. And then he messaged me 2 days later and said, "I need another one. Do you still have another one?" I said, "Yes." Like,
Oh my God.
he's like, "How much?" 60. He's like, "Okay." And then I haven't heard from him since, so I don't know what's going on.
Give it 2 days.
Yeah. Well, it's been a week now, so I don't think it's coming back.
Yeah. That's why you message him.
Hey,
Are you still
Hey,
interested?
you still want this? So
Yeah. I find that pays off enough times to make it worth it.
we'll see. I'm also getting a little bit wary of him though, because like I always give 24 hours. Like if someone buys something for
Yeah.
me, I give 24 hours. If something goes wrong with it or something doesn't work, I can't test everything to the fullest extent, right? So if there's a chance something doesn't work, I say, hey, you've got 24 hours, test it to your, make sure you're happy with it. And then something goes wrong, bring it back. You can have your money back. And there's been a couple times where, yes, someone said, oh, this doesn't work or this doesn't work right. Okay, that's fine. Here's your money back. No big deal. So he waited about 3 or 4 days, and then he messaged me saying, after saying I need another Xbox, he said, one of the controllers you gave me, the Y button doesn't work.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, like, it doesn't take 4 days to figure out your Y button doesn't work.
And if it does, how many controllers did he get? And is it a big deal? And clean it yourself, it's you.
Yeah, so I was just like,
Like-
I'm like, it's been over 4 days, dude. Like, you could have swapped the controller with one that you had already that had an issue, and now you're gonna
That's what I worry about.
now you're gonna trade me a broken controller. I'm like, I test all the buttons when I test the system. That's
And the only solution to that problem is writing down serial numbers.
yeah,
Which I have done
yeah.
in my spreadsheet.
Your spreadsheet. Thankfully, I haven't had to do that. One of the tricks I have done though is like, say I'm selling a controller or something, I will pull the battery cover off, and with a marker, just put a dot somewhere on the inside where I know there's been a
Okay.
dot. So if they do return it, I can pop the battery cover off, and I can see this is not the controller I sold you. Then I'm not having
So
to
if I
chase.
bring things back to you, I need to put a dot in it. Got it.
It's just been an easy thing. That was a trick I picked up when I was living in Africa, because that was a very like potential scam that would happen all the time. Buy something, then try to return a broken one later and say it's broken. So that's one thing we started doing, is marking things where we could see them.
Speaking of Africa, I have a coworker who started working on my team, on an adjacent team, but the same manager, and she's from South Africa,
Okay.
and she has the accent.
She's got the accent. That's good.
The accent, it's hard to place if you didn't know. Just white chick, you have no idea. You're like, are you from Australia, UK, somewhere?
Australia,
Like, that's
New
what it
Zealand.
sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Yeah.
We keep making fun of her for her age because she's fairly young, and the rest of us are. Well, I'm the youngest. No, there's one girl younger than me by 4 years. Then everyone else is like at least 6 years older than me, and then there's this new girl who's even younger.
Oh wow.
So we're making fun of her for her age, and someone said something about internet being as slow as dial-up. I said, "You see, Carrie, dial-up is what we had before cable internet." And she says, "You forget I grew up in another country." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's true."
Oh yeah. We know all
But that was
about
not
dial-up.
the first time I made fun of her age.
I love the. I've been doing it to my wife lately, and it's funny. It's probably annoying her, but she laughs when she does it. The like
For now.
the super deliberate and obvious mansplaining. I know mansplaining is a thing, but we were with like my niece's nephew, and they're in like this tell a cheesy joke type thing, but then they're also in the phase of they tell you the cheesy joke and then we laugh at it, but then they feel the need to explain the joke to you because.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so then I started doing it. I would tell a joke and then I would explain it to my wife. You see, it's funny because this. So she gets annoyed. Anyways, I've been doing that lately, and I find it hilarious. And I think she finds it funny, but she also gets very annoyed with it.
On my team, we also have a thing where we repeat the same thing over and over. Like someone says, I think I have to send the customer an email explaining that. And then someone else will say, you know what, you should probably send an email to the customer explaining that. And then someone else will chime in right after that and be like, yeah, I think he should really send a customer an email explaining that. Just repeating the same thing over and over. And that's, I think, wearing thin on this new girl.
She just has
Whereas
to
the
accept
other
it.
younger girls just laughs. You can just see her crack it up. She can't hold it in.
Yeah. No, you just got to accept it and throw your hat in the ring on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So there's a podcast I listen to called Hamish and Andy. I think I've mentioned it before. And they have a thing on there called,
Yes.
they have a segment called Power Moves. So it's like, it's a situation where you are able to exert your dominance over another person, usually in a way that you're either like a legend or they call it an a-hole move, like one or the other. And so one of the power moves is when someone drops something that they can't leave behind. So say they drop their phone, they drop their car keys or something. You turn around and you point at them and you say, "Pick that up," right? Because now you've told them to do it, and they can't not.
They're gonna do it anyway.
They can't not pick it up. They have to do it
Got
because you told them. Now it looks like they're doing it because you told them to do it. Exactly. So it's just stupid things like that.
It's pretty good.
Anyways, it's pretty great. And that's what I've been trying to do on people.
I like that. I kind of wish I was in the office just so I could do that. Because the guys on my team would really like that.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Not pick up your phone and just gonna walk?
Exactly. Well, that's probably what they would do to counter that.
But it's more like, you're out in the field, right? Or you're walking down the street. Like, you can't leave it there. You have to pick it up.
You drop your keys.
You drop your keys. Yeah. You're in the parking lot. You're walking to your car. You have to pick up your keys. You cannot leave them there out of spite. And that's the point. It's the power move. So yeah, it's great. One of the other favorite ones is say you're at a wedding. This is how old this is. This is before COVID. If you're at a wedding and there's the conga line starts. Conga line starts at every wedding. Try to start, get number 2 in line in the conga line, and then at some point break off, let go of the person in front of you, and now you're the front of the conga line. And what can they do? Be on their own and just not. They have to rejoin at the back of the conga line. It's hilarious.
What if you were third? Would that still work?
It might.
I think it would.
It might.
I think it would.
Anyways, that's Hamish.
How far back
Hamish
would
and
it
Andy.
still work?
Yeah. We got to test this.
5 maybe?
You could have a conga line of 5 people. I don't know. I think that 5 is too many. I think 2 would be your max.
But I mean, when you're the 5th.
Yeah.
So there's 4 in front of you.
I don't know. That's stretching it. So, oh my.
Now you just need to be a wedding crasher just to try this.
It's great.
Also COVID.
They actually they released a book called Power Moves. So my friend got me that for Christmas last year. I shouldn't say. So 2020 he got that for me as a gift. And then 2021 they released
the real last year.
Yeah, the real last year. And then 2021 they just released Power Moves Volume 2. So it's like 100 power moves in this book, and it's pretty great. So
the gift thing and your power move thing reminds me. This other coworker told me about this thing him and his friends do, where they try and buy each other the most ridiculous gifts.
Yeah.
But the person, whoever receives it, has to keep it for at least a year and use it for its intended purpose. So the one guy, for some reason, he bought a house and he was doing something country with the house, like making it look country. So the guy bought him a giant stuffed horse as a decoration to go in his living room, and he had to keep it for a year.
That's funny.
And then he's like, "Oh, it's coming up on his next birthday. I think I'm gonna order him a straw bale is what he was gonna get him."
Okay, yeah.
And I said, "Wait a second. If you're gonna get one straw bale, why not get 20?" And on Kijiji, I found him a farmer selling straw bales for like $2 each or something.
Oh my god.
I'm like, just do it. Just do it. It'll be worth it. He has to keep them for a year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good if his house floods. Oh, jeez. Stupid.
So we haven't really talked that much lately, hey?
We haven't really talked for like a month, literally. I mean, we talk
there's a little bit of
on Twitter, like we chat back and forth, but
a little bit on Twitter. I was gonna say, was there even something on Twitter that we had talked about that was interesting? I was gonna actually steal a segment from somebody.
Ooh, we're good at that.
Say, the news of interest.
Ooh, that's a
Frantic
deep
Thoughts.
cut. That's a deep cut.
Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard
For like the nice
68.
round figure of $69 million.
68.
Come on,
It
it's
rounds
69.
down.
It's the funny internet number. It's 69.
They should have rounded up. Yes. I
They
agree.
couldn't
But
have.
I don't know if
They couldn't
I
have.
don't know if Bobby Kotick could have had that much more on his plate. Yeah.
That is insane. I can't believe that. they spent
any
that much
thoughts,
money. I
any
can't believe
words?
Activision is worth that much money.
Yeah, but they are technically. In fact, they're worth more because their stocks came down just before this with all the controversy.
Yeah.
And then you're always paying over the stock price when you're buying out a company because you're forcing people to sell,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And so they went over that, but it wasn't an unreasonable amount over as far as I remember hearing.
Crazy. What Activision property do you want to see re-emerge?
I heard a whole bunch of podcasts about this, and one that really caught my ear was Skylanders
Ah.
Collection,
Ooh, yeah. Okay, possibly.
where you get all the characters digitally, not physical, and you don't have to buy them as DLC or anything like
Yeah.
that. I don't care if they keep some of the legendary guys as DLC, that's fine. Do that, I don't care. But have like a collection of all the Skylander games on one disc, and then have so you can switch characters
On the
through
fly.
some button or whatever, yeah. Technically, switching characters is basically your lives, though, so it's kind of cheating if you did that, but whatever. Games have continues anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
It's basically all it is a continue. A paid continue.
A paid continue. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
That was Wombat of the Kegcast, Cheap Ass Gamer podcast, said that. And I was like, yes, for sure.
It's not a bad idea.
I wasn't the first person I heard say Skylanders either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty sure on the Giant Bombcast. I'm pretty sure they said Skylanders as well. If I recall correctly.
Sounds right. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good.
But any others you can think of?
Well, I heard, like, including this deal, they got Sierra
Yes.
included that deal. They don't
I heard that
publicize it.
same thing.
But I'd love to see, like, the return of, like, a Sierra, like, point-and-click adventure.
I played them as a kid, but that's not my choice of nostalgia now.
Yeah.
But I totally get it, and I agree.
Yeah.
It would be good. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, when it comes to point and click adventures, I am more partial to the LucasArts point and clicks, but I'll take a Sierra if I can.
Yeah, it's been. I don't remember the Lucas ones as well. Well, I guess we did do Full Throttle when I was younger.
Okay.
Game my whole family kind of played.
Yeah.
And the Dig, that was LucasArts. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My point and click adventure is the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Okay.
That was the one I
yeah.
played. I actually played it on stream, like on Twitch, a year ago,
Yeah.
2 years ago, something like that. Played all the way through it from mostly memory. So there's always a couple puzzles you're like, I don't know about this. Some of them are pretty obtuse. But the main difference between
part I don't like.
Sierra point and click and LucasArts is that LucasArts won't let you use something where it's not intended. So you cannot fail or use a consumable item or a perishable item where it's not supposed to be
Get
used.
yourself stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get yourself stuck. Whereas in the Sierra ones, you totally can. You save in the wrong spot and you use something that you shouldn't, and all of a sudden it's gone, and that's it. That's the end of your run. You got to start the game over.
About 6 months ago, maybe, I started listening to a podcast called DOS Game Club.
Okay.
And they've talked about the same thing. They've played a lot of adventure games, and they even interviewed. Who did they interview? It was that couple that created those adventure games. Which ones was it now? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. I thought it was the Sierra ones that they came in. Husband and wife couple that did D&D, and he was a developer. Anyway, they interviewed them, and they also interviewed another developer from the other side as well. One of the guys who worked on Sierra's engine for it, like the scripting engine that they use to make all these games.
Okay.
But anyway, DOS Game Club. It's good podcast. Very much like Cartridge Club, but for DOS games.
DOS games.
Really cool.
Not bad. I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on DOS games when I was a kid. A
Yeah.
lot of time.
Definitely should then. I went through and just downloaded all the episodes of the games I knew and played and liked, or ones I was interested in.
Okay.
Yeah. They also go through like emulating them and stuff too sometimes, depending on how hard the game is to get or play these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of emulation, Nintendo is shutting down Wii U eShops and 3DS eShops.
Yeah.
And I am very, very tempted. I know they say, spend the money where you can, but I'm very tempted just to like hack the whole thing.
I would as well, because I've been hearing lately, I never really bought anything on the Wii eShop, Wii U eShop, or 3DS eShop.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm hearing is that it's very difficult to bring that to a new console. Impossible even.
Yeah.
That Nintendo doesn't support it.
Yeah.
If you were to get your console like replaced or repaired by them, they might do a one-time transfer of your thing to a new console, but you were lucky to get it. I think that was also talked about on Giant Bomb, and I'm like, really? I had no idea it was that ridiculous.
They're like tied to the console. Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, it's just dumb, bad practices, unconsumer friendly.
I was under the impression that all of this was ending in like January. I heard that credit card support was leaving. So in January, I spent the month going through and trying to buy all the stuff that I wanted on Wii U
I
Shop.
remember you talking about that, yeah.
So I bought like Devil's Third digital because that game is stupid expensive physical.
Yeah.
I have it physical and I have it's brand new, but I was going to open it, but seeing the price, there's no point in me opening it now.
No, you should buy an open one and sell your sealed one.
I should, but an open one is almost the same price as a new one, so
Really?
it's ridiculous.
I'm surprised by that.
So I was like, it's a game that I do want to play. I've heard it's bad in a good way sometimes. So got that and a couple of Wii U like eShop exclusives. I think the one is like Affordable Space Adventure is the one I bought. Because
I don't think I've even heard of that.
it uses the Wii U gamepad in like very unique ways, and it's like
Okay.
you can play it multiplayer, like so the one player has like the captain has the tablet, and you can kind of control what people are doing, and then people on screen have the normal controllers, and they're moving around the ship doing what they need to do.
Yeah, I like that kind of game, that asymmetric gameplay.
Yeah, and that stuff seems.
You ever played Tank?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Or what was the other one?
Together, not against each other. But
What was the other one? Oh,
Nintendo Land has some of that asymmetric stuff too.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. Have you ever played that?
On PC.
Yeah. It's that thing where like there's like six stations on a spaceship. There's only 4 players.
Okay.
And so you always have people running around. Okay, we need to do this. We need to do this. Someone controls engines. Someone's got to do guns. Someone's got to do shields. Someone's got to do, run power.
Other gun the other way, whatever.
Yeah, 2 guns.
Yep.
So that was really fun. I played that with my friends all the way through, and it got really tough at the end, but great game, though. Great game. So, anyways, things like that I was interested in, so I've been trying to do that. And then I see the 3DS stuff, and I'm like, I hear the 3DS is a lot easier to hack now than the last time I tried, so I might just go that route rather than having to.
I hacked mine,
everything.
and then my son updated it
Oops.
and bricked it. There's a way to get it back, but I just need to do it.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm so detached from having done it that I don't remember what I need to do. There's some file I need to try and get from some site and then put it on my SD card.
Yeah.
And I'll be fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead, I bought 2 3DSs.
Yeah, that's an easy fix.
Not even have to fix
Just
that
buy
one.
another one.
I did. I bought 2. I'll eventually fix the bricked one. But
Yeah.
probably, hopefully, when it gets easier.
Yes. Well, it's very easy right now. Now is the time.
Okay.
Now is the time. Because you can actually use like an eShop demo to do what you need to do to hack.
Oh, but it's already been hacked.
Yeah.
Using Cubic Ninja.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I got a copy of Cubic Ninja and I went over to my friend's house and he modded his wife's and mine all at the same time.
Nice. I think I got halfway through my mod. I got it modded, but then I couldn't get files to work on it for some reason.
Oh.
Something like that. That was my issue. We'll see. We'll see what I do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should look up my problem sometime. My friend told me that the solution was, it was like, get this file, but the latest version, and put it on your thing. That's it. That was just the solution. Yeah.
Sounds so easy.
Right? The hard part is finding that file and knowing if it's the right one.
Just download all of them and put them on. One of them's got to work.
Yes. In theory. Bricks it harder. What?
What? Now it's really bricked.
Yeah. It's a bigger brick.
Goodness.
So, what have you been watching?
Oh, man. What have I been watching? Couple things.
I'm waiting for you to say either nothing or a giant list. I just don't know which one yet.
So I did so good last month where I made a list, and I'm like, I'm gonna make another list, and then I didn't make a list.
Oh God.
So I'm gonna go from memory, and I'll probably be like,
Just log into your Plex and just look.
I know, but I watch things everywhere else too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not just on Plex.
I can fill time with something I watched.
The one thing that I know I watched. I can talk about this. Oh, a couple things. Excuse me. I've been watching Ted Lasso season 2 with my wife.
Yes.
So we're only 2 episodes
I was
in.
too.
It's good so far.
I think we finished. No, I can't remember. Okay.
And
Is that still coming out? I don't remember now.
I think it's done now. Season 2 is done.
I think we watched it all,
Potentially.
but I'll find out.
What?
Yep, we watched it. 12 episodes.
Then, did I talk about introducing my wife to the Jack Ryan series of movies?
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't think I did.
I don't really know the Jack Ryan series of movies.
Okay. So that started with in the movie section. It's Jack Ryan as a character created by Tom Clancy and a bunch of book series about them. And then the movies came out. The first one being The Hunt for Red October with Sean Connery.
Okay, yes, you did talk about that.
Okay, and then we watched Patriot Games. Did I talk about that?
I think so, because last time you mentioned 2 movies that how they had tied together, even though they don't really directly tie together,
Okay.
but they actually do.
Okay. So I did Patriot Games, and then last week we watched Clear and Present Danger, which is the second one, Jack Ryan movie that has Harrison Ford. He plays Jack Ryan for the second time. So the first time being Patriot Games, second time Clear and Present Danger. Patriot Games is a much more action-heavy movie, and then Clear and Present Danger I like more, but it's a little bit more political, a little bit more espionage-y. So I like that side of it. It's been good.
So you have a few more to go.
Who does? I do?
Yeah. I just went to Wikipedia for Jack Ryan, the character in movies, and it's like Patriot Games, Red Rabbit, Hunt for Red October, Cardinal of the Gremlins.
Some of these sound like TV
Clear
movies.
Present Danger. I don't know. I can check. Which one?
And then there's a Jack Ryan series on Amazon.
Yeah, that's what I came up with first when I looked it up. I'm like, okay, TV series.
Yeah. And then there's Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, where Chris Pine takes over. And then in between the two is The Sum of All Fears.
Why is it that I just don't seem interested in this at all? The TV series, maybe.
The TV series is good. I would say if you're gonna watch the movies, I mean all of them are good except for Sum of All Fears is not great, to be honest. And that's the one with Ben Affleck playing Jack Ryan. And
that explains it.
The one with Chris Pine is okay. It's pretty good, but if you're gonna watch any, I would say do Hunt for October. It's a classic. It's good. And then
I've seen it.
Okay.
I don't remember it well enough.
It's decent. I would say Patriot Games is really good, and then I think Clear and Present Danger is the best of all of them. But that's just again more probably my nostalgia coming through. I watched a lot more Clear and Present Danger back in the day. Um,
Okay.
Last month we talked about Jet Li movies.
Yeah.
So I downloaded one called Cradle to the Grave, starring
Yeah.
Jet Li and the late DMX, who passed away last year.
Yeah.
And that was another one that I watched a lot when I was
Pretty sure I
younger,
saw that.
thinking it was cool, and then watching it now, oh my gosh, it is so cheesy. It is
Oh,
so
really?
cheesy.
I thought I remembered liking it.
It is like ridiculously cheesy. So, go watch it. Not to sound I realize when I say this is going to make me sound like what I don't want to sound. But it came in that era of like we're going to make a movie that surrounds all of African American characters and actors. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like think a Tyler Perry movie where it's just all African Americans.
I don't know Tyler Perry.
You don't know who Tyler Perry is? Medea's House. He does all those like comedy movies. Big Mama's House. Is that Big
Yeah.
Mama's House? No, that's
Okay,
that's
I
Lawrence
s-
Fishburne.
no.
No, Martin Lawrence, I think. Anyways, same idea.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's like you can almost tell they are. You know how you were talking about Eternals last month, where you can tell they hit every card on the diversity card, and this is just like we're gonna take every character and possibly and make them an African American character, whether they need to be or not. Not saying that they can't
Okay.
be those things, and I realize this
Yeah.
makes me sound racist, and it's not what I'm trying to say, but it's almost overly deliberate.
Yeah, like pandering.
Yeah,
or
yeah, exactly.
Catering to, not catering, pandering. Is the right
Pandering,
word.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just it's an interesting style choice.
Okay. He did dress up as an old lady in something there.
That's Tyler Perry's thing, yeah.
Okay, that's his thing. Okay. I just keep seeing pictures of him dressed up as an old lady. I'm like, I don't know.
We watched Moana with my kids.
It's a good one.
It is good. I liked it.
You're
It
welcome.
also scared the living daylights out of my child.
Really?
He got so upset. So we're going through this thing right now where like they are not they're fighting back and not listening. I know kids do this their entire lives, but we're
Yeah.
always on them about, when I'm talking to you or I'm telling you something, you need to listen, you need to do what I say. If I'm telling you not to do something, it's because you shouldn't do that thing. And so in that movie, Moana is told by her dad, do not go past the reef, right? Like that's the thing. Is
Yeah. So many movies where the kid just defies the parents
Yeah.
and that's how they become a hero.
Yeah. And so when she got on the boat and went to leave the reef, my son got really upset because he was so afraid that her dad was going to be so mad at her when she got back. And he was like scared of that escalation.
Yep.
And he was just like almost
You scared him real good.
Yeah, apparently I have. Apparently, that's where it's coming from. Is he thinks that, I get mad at him. I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten mad at him because I've told him to do something or told him not to do something, and he just
Yeah.
blatantly does it in front of me, or doesn't do what I've told him to do, and it's just, of course it gets annoying after it's the 8th time that day that they're
Yeah.
so you of course you yell at them.
Yep.
So
Yep. I know. I know.
So it was very interesting to see that side come out of him. I haven't seen that before. So, anyways, since then I've tried
Until he's a
to
teenager.
since then I've tried to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I watched Free Guy with my wife. Finally,
I liked that a lot.
finally. I felt like that movie went like 15 minutes too long. I feel like the ending
Yeah.
happened, and then they just kept going. Like they were just trying to finish it up a little bit, like do more or add more to the story. I'm like, this movie's over.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah.
I'm not saying it's
They were trying to tie up all loose ends, which some movies don't do,
yeah.
right?
You don't have to. It's a video game movie. It's fine. But yeah, it was good. And then I watched a movie that has been on my need to watch list for I want to say a decade. I've been meaning to get to this movie, and I just never have. I know it has a lot of cultural significance, a lot of pop culture significance. It's just one of those important movies that everyone says you need to watch that movie. And that movie
I'm
is...
gonna open IMDb so I can look it up because I probably won't know it.
I guarantee you've heard this movie. It is a Steven Spielberg movie called Schindler's List.
I have never seen it.
But you know of it.
I know
Exactly.
Of it, yes.
Everyone knows of this movie.
Yeah.
So it's...
I've never seen it, and it's on my list to watch sometime.
Exactly. But I know that it deals with a dark subject matter, and it's not something that I can just go into at any point. I have to mentally prepare myself for what I'm about to watch, because I realize the significance of what I'm going to see. Not saying the movie is so significant, but the subject matter is very significant and important. And, I don't want to go in if I'm not in the right mood to see it, because then I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the movie and also the subject.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Obviously it's taken me 10 years to finally get to a point where, like, you know what? I think I can do this now.
It's taken me longer than 10 years, so you're fine.
Well, I've known of the movie for longer than 10 years, but it's been like 10 years ago I decided I really need to see this movie.
Yes, I did that longer ago and have had it on a hard drive for longer than that.
So, Schindler's List, if you don't know, is about Oskar Schindler, who is a businessman in, I forget, is it Poland? I think it's Poland. He doesn't do it at first, but he's trying to save the Jews from the concentration camps that they're going to, and put them to work in his factory, basically. Does that make sense? What I said?
Yes.
So
it's more than I knew.
Okay. Well, that's basically the list. So the list is the list of Jews that he's pulling out of these camps to bring to his factory. That's the list.
Okay.
I don't think that's spoilers. It's pretty obvious. The one thing, actually, I don't know if I should talk about this if you haven't seen it. I don't want to influence your viewing, so maybe I won't talk about it too much. Either to say, like, it is an important movie. It is a good movie. I have a few issues with it, but I'll save that for another day.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
So think about Schindler's List. It's showing like the dignity of Jews and how they were harassed and how they, the torment they went through. And I was like, oh, this is so good. And, the amount of sacrifice they went through, it's, it really shows a lot, the resilience of the Jewish people. So what do I watch after that? I go back to Kenny versus Spenny, who are two...
I thought you were going to say, like, isn't it Hateful Eight is... That's the one where they're going and killing... The Jews are killing the Nazis.
No, that's Inglourious Basterds. Hateful Eight is a Western.
No,
yeah.
Not Hateful Eight. That's a different thing altogether.
Inglourious Basterds would probably be more appropriate, but I just went straight...
Yes, it would.
Straight to Kenny versus Spenny, where you see, by the way, both who are Jewish men, who are drooling and...
That's what I figured the tie-in was, but I didn't know.
I'm like, we went from Schindler's List, and this is where the Jewish people have come. And this is when they're watching them on TV now. And they're like, running around naked and peeing on each other.
Their sacrifices are for
this. This is what, this is what they sacrificed their lives for. And it was so, in my mind, I'm like, this is so wrong. This is so wrong.
And yet you continued to watch it.
And yet I continued to watch it, yes. Because Kenny keeps putting those things up in 4K on YouTube, and I keep watching them. They keep popping up in my recommended feed now, so,
Oh, boy.
I'm kind of tempted to. He's also, by the way, he's also premiering them, and he's in the chat talking to the people watching the episodes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
imagine the commentary he could provide, voiceover, DVD extras.
Oh my gosh! Even he does a lot of podcast interviews, and the stuff he says on there is just like so rank. Like you could not get away saying that about anyone else, but because he's saying it about Spenny, it's okay for some reason.
Yeah, they're good friends.
Yeah. And then I recently got my kids into Mr. Bean.
Okay. Yeah.
which has been very interesting because it's not something I would assume that they would like, because the cultural norms have changed so much. Like, they don't know what a telephone with a cord on it is,
Yeah.
but they're watching it happen. You know,
Yeah.
They haven't been they've been to a public pool like maybe twice. So we're watching Mr. Bean in the pool, and I have to kind of explain, oh, he's going up the thing, he's going to jump off the diving board,
Yeah.
he's going to jump high.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's been an interesting, I have to look at it through the eyes of a child and be like, I don't understand that. Okay, I should explain that to my kids. And for some reason, even my 2-year-old loves it. They both just find it hilarious, and they always want to watch Mr. Bean. I say, do you want to watch Paw Patrol or Mr. Bean? And both of them say Mr. Bean.
I would gladly start my kids watching Mr. Bean.
You should.
Since they didn't watch Paw Patrol.
You should. It is so funny.
I love Mr. Bean. My wife does too.
Yeah, it's good. And then I was talking about how I was with my nieces and nephews. We went over to, we're hanging out with them, and my son starts talking about Mr. Bean, and they're asking, they're older, they're 9 and 7, 10 and 7, and they're saying, what's Mr. Bean? I said, oh, let me show you Mr. Bean. So I then introduced my niece and nephew to Mr. Bean. They also thought it was hilarious. So,
where are you watching Mr. Bean?
Pardon? Where am I watching it?
Where are you?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, where is it? Oh, okay.
So I also have it. Okay. I went and downloaded a bunch to put it on my Plex. I just haven't got there yet.
I have some on my Plex. I just didn't. I don't know how much there is for sure.
There's only one season. There's only 12 episodes or something like that. It's not a lot. When I was younger, you thought there was a million of them, but you just kept seeing the same ones over and over. The collection I found also has 2 of the Mr. Beans that aren't included on the, I would say collections, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
There's one that's at the bus stop, which I think is one of the first ones. And then there's also the library one. The library one is the one I've been looking for a long time, where he gets the rare book from the library collection. He's got to wear the white gloves. Okay. Then he's trying to copy something with tracing paper, ends up coloring on the page. Then he can't take it off, and he tries to cut the page out. And he cuts the book in half, basically, that kind of thing. And that one I could not find anywhere. I didn't look very hard, to be fair. Anyways, it's in that collection that I downloaded, so I was able to watch that one again. Again, I can't show that one to my kids. They have no cultural reference of what a library is. They've never...
What's a library? My kids do know libraries.
Yeah.
They've been to the library. They know to be quiet in the library. We borrow books from the library. They have a library at the school they borrow from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My oldest has been to a library, but again, he hasn't been... He was in the library probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, so he doesn't remember. He probably doesn't remember what it is. So...
Yeah. Oh, this is the place you have to be quiet.
Anyways, of all the Mr. Beans, the golf one has been the hit so far. That is the one that they want to see all the time. Is the mini golf.
Okay. I don't remember it very well. The library one I don't remember either, but I can absolutely picture it.
So
I think we did have the kids start watching the Christmas one, perhaps.
The Christmas one is a good one. That's probably the first one I showed them, I think.
Okay.
So
I think around Christmas was when we started to.
Yeah.
But I should cue some up. My kids do love to laugh.
Yeah.
Especially my son. He's just loves a good belly laugh.
That's all my kids are doing.
I think I told you he was talking about Home Alone 4. We were watching that, and my son said, "This is the funniest movie I've ever seen in my entire life." He was laughing, couldn't stop. For what else we watched?
And you're like, you gotta set your bar a little higher there, kid.
Yeah, well, I'll wait till he gets a little older, and then we can show him some.
Real funny stuff.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Monty Python, here we go.
So I went on a deep dive on Rowan Atkinson stuff because
because you do that. Yep.
This is my thing, right? You see one thing, I'm going to watch another thing that has Rowan Atkinson. And
so, did you watch some Blackadder?
Yes, you're right. I did. It takes me right to Blackadder. Well, before that, I'll jump into I used to watch. I had it on VHS actually. A thing called Rowan Atkinson Live. And I think it played at the
Okay.
Boston University. And it's him doing like a one-man show with like an assistant once in a while. And I remember watching
Okay.
that when I was younger and thinking that was hilarious because I always associated, when you're a kid, you always associate Rowan Atkinson is Mr. Bean, and that's it. Like it's the same, it's one
Yeah.
and the same person. Rowan Atkinson can't be anything or anyone other than Mr. Bean. So this is my first time
Until he
being.
does Johnny English.
This is one of my first times being exposed to him not being Mr. Bean, and also thinking he was funny. And then after that, I got exposed to Blackadder and moved on from there. So, anyways, Rowan Atkinson Live. You can watch it on YouTube. I think Rowan Atkinson actually published it on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's very good. It's about an hour. I realized I watched the whole thing in full, and I realized how much I didn't understand innuendo when I was younger, because there's a lot of it in that show. So don't watch it with your kids. But it is very funny. Yeah, and moving on to Blackadder, it's my first time actually going through the series. Because
Yeah, see, I meant to do that a couple years ago, and I started to, but I never finished. I think I only watched one episode, probably.
oh yeah,
Yeah. I'd always heard about it and seen clips from it, but never actually watched much. Always meant to.
we had Blackadder VHS tapes of like one of the seasons, and it was one of the later ones that takes place in the Victorian age. And so those are the ones that I knew. I only thought it was like one season of Blackadder, and that was it. Where he was,
Yeah, I see season 3 and 4 look like they're that time frame.
okay. And that's where he plays a servant to Hugh Laurie is in that one. Hugh Laurie's in all of them. So anyone unfamiliar with Blackadder, it basically takes place in different time periods, and it always it's like the descendants of those people in a different time period, right? So at one point, Blackadder is the noble, and whoever, I don't remember Hugh Laurie's character, but he is the servant or whatever. He's of a lower class, and then at some point they switch. One of them gets higher class, one now is the servant. They're all played by the same actors because they're all descendants of each other. But anyways, it's very, very funny, very dry British humor. If you're into that kind of thing, it's a little bit more grounded than Monty Python. I think that's maybe why I like it a little bit more. But it is funny. Watch Blackadder. It was strange for me because I didn't know it was a thing. It's like jumping in the middle of a season and only seeing that season, and it's been that for so long.
Yeah.
In my mind, and so watching all these new things is like it's very strange for me because I'm seeing characters that I already know, but in a different setting. So,
Okay.
all right, that's me. I've talked for like an hour now.
I need to go watch it. I need to go watch Blackadder. It's like I said, I've been meaning to.
Yeah.
It's been on my list, and I even started it. All right, I watched Fantasy Mission Force.
Oh, I need to hear about this. Is it as good as I remember it? Of course not.
It's so cheesy and bad.
Yep.
It's got its moments, but it's pretty cheesy and bad.
I remember it being that, but I think
I don't. It doesn't even make a lot of sense, to be honest. The story itself is kind of like, whoa, what? Huh? Who? Okay. All right. Okay, we're doing that now. Okay, and then continue from there.
I remember watching that again when I was a kid and not liking it, and then I remember watching it over and over and over, and I think I just made myself like it, and now I have nostalgia for it.
Probably. If anyone's curious, it's a 1983 Chinese war movie,
Quote unquote war movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're basically recruiting a bunch of elite soldiers to go defeat the Japanese. Is basically the premise.
Starring Jackie Chan.
Well, yeah, minor, but then it turns out to be bigger. Like
Yeah.
he comes in near the middle-ish. Like he's the last of the people to really be introduced, I think.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly. I was like, I thought Jackie Chan was in this, and then all of a sudden he finally shows up.
Yeah.
And the dub voice for him is so bad.
Yeah, I watched the
just
dub when I was
so
a kid.
high pitched and lame. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I watched it.
Good. I need to watch it again.
Well, it's there. Also, I watched. What should I say next? I watched Peacemaker.
Oh yeah, that's
really
the
enjoyed
John
Peacemaker.
Cena one, right?
John Cena, DC.
Did you watch the
Yeah.
Suicide Squad beforehand or no?
I have not. No.
That sounds so strange to me because I think a lot of his characterizations are introduced in that movie.
I, I didn't care. I wanted this show to introduce
Okay,
me
that's fair.
because I figured they're gonna do it for new people anyway. It's not like they're gonna exclude people
Yeah,
or,
okay.
or alienate. They tried, and this does. I believe this digs more into his past. I believe
Yeah.
to explain his personality and his childhood and upbringing. But I've really liked it.
I've only
I've
heard good
watched-
things, so I need to watch that too.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, it's the right kind of hokey and action. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Good.
And John Cena every time, like I've said before, he's actually a good actor. No one gives him credit. He's actually really funny. No one gives him credit, and this seems to give him a chance to do that. I think.
I agree with you, but I think a lot of it has to do with the director that he's working with, who knows him, and
Probably, yeah.
because I think James Gunn has that ability because he directed most of that season, I think, right?
But I also think with any director, John Cena has enough sway, kind of like The Rock, to do his own thing if he wanted to.
He does now.
But you're
yeah.
right; it could just get cut, right? Even if he did do it his way, they'd want him to do it some like straight man way or something stupid
Yeah.
like. But yeah, it's I like it a lot the way it's done, and maybe it is to do with James Gunn being the director and that stuff. I don't know for sure. I don't know much about James Gunn, so I just know he did Guardians of the Galaxy, which I also enjoyed a similar way.
Yeah.
So it would make sense.
So you would like he did the new Suicide Squad. So
Yeah. But I just feel like I feel like on DC Comics movies, I should go back and watch the ones I haven't, even if they're terrible, like the Batman versus Superman and stuff. I want to start from those and work my way to newer,
yeah.
and I just haven't done that.
okay.
Yeah, that way I can watch them all and figure it out. I did watch the one I told you about.
Yeah, we talked about last
the
time, I
first
think, yeah.
Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also been continuing to watch Resident Alien. I don't remember if I told you I was watching that or not.
I don't think
It's
so.
wow, I really should have been Alan Tudyk.
Oh yes.
As not the Con Man.
Okay.
one that
I was
talked
thinking
about
Con
before.
Man. You're right. No, that's what I
No, so it kind of did. I did a Josh where I looked him up and what else is he doing? Actually, I think I listened to a podcast with him first, and that introduced me into both these things. But Resident Alien is basically he's an alien who's landed on Earth, stranded here, and needs to blend in. So he takes the form of a human, and that happens to be the local small town doctor. Hence, Resident.
Yeah. Okay.
Alien.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So he's just trying to fit in. But season 1 I already watched before, and now I've finished. No, I'm currently watching season 2. I'm 4 episodes in,
How many seasons are there?
so 2
Two?
so
Okay.
far. It's still coming out.
Coming up. Gotcha.
Yeah, yep. But yeah, it's good. It's weird, but it's good. It has some hokiness. It has some. I don't know how to describe it. it's enjoyable enough.
Yep. Good.
And I really like him as
Of
well.
course. Yeah.
so that
Alan
helps.
Tudyk's pretty good.
Yeah. And then I also watched, I'm going to switch these around. I watched Chernobyl, the HBO miniseries about Chernobyl,
Yep.
the nuclear reactor meltdown. So I've been meaning to watch this. A friend recommended it recently. Actually, Bill, I think, recommended it. And then I also saw a YouTube video pop up in my recommended YouTube stuff when I was watching regular YouTube stuff that was basically MIT releases some of their courses for free online. You can do their course as if you're in university at MIT. It's just a recorded course of the professor teaching the students about some subject. This one happened to be about Chernobyl disaster and how it happened in like a class of students learning about nuclear fission and how nuclear reactors work and everything. So this is like the end of their class, and it's like a fun class where he's explaining how everything went with what they already know.
Okay.
And they're using their tools that they know how to check the numbers on how quickly this reacts kind of stuff and what the result would be to make it in real world and disaster scenario type stuff. So anyway, I watched that video, and it was obviously lots of things beyond my capabilities, but it was still educational and interesting and explained well. And then because I had already wanted to watch Chernobyl anyway, I'm like, okay, it's time to watch Chernobyl. So I watched Chernobyl, the miniseries. It's a 5-part, 1 hour each miniseries, and my God, what a disaster! What a series of unfortunate events.
Yep.
Like greedy people and just mistakes and all that kind of stuff. Like the only thing about this show that I didn't love is that they made like 1 or 2 tweaks to the story. They say it at the end with the like, what happened afterwards stuff. They do it in text.
Yeah.
And the one thing is they made a change where one person in the show really represents a group of people.
Yeah.
Of scientists in real life. And it's kind of like, why'd you even have to do that? I know you added drama, but come on, man. You could have just made it a group of scientists and do the exact same thing with 1 or 2 or whatever.
It's probably budgetary, and also they don't want to complicate things. Too many people on screen trying to remember too many names.
That's too many people. Yeah, I can see that. It was already a lot of people and jumping around sometimes too, but it was still really good. I enjoyed it. I liked learning about it and all the things that led up to it, let alone how a nuclear reactor even works for that matter.
Yeah, it's a good show. I forget when I watched it.
How much worse the disaster could have been too.
Yes. One of the craziest things about that is like the fact that it was just one of the reactors, and they kept the other reactors open until the 90s?
Right? Yeah, that was weird. But the whole thing was denied over and over.
Yeah, it was a refusal to admit defeat, refusal to not even defeat, just refusal to admit that people were in danger
at all.
Right? Like,
yes, absolutely. There was so much of that, and political reasons and self-gain reasons behind all that. You just need to watch it. It was good. As in, like, I'm glad I learned what I learned, and it was told in an interesting way, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of the suffering of people, like some of these people who volunteered to help clean up or to go in and do the work to take care of this at their own expense, even after they knew it was going to kill them, basically. It was just unbelievable. Like, would you yourself do that? I don't know.
I would like to think I would, but I don't know until that moment comes, right? So
yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts.
So, try to follow that up. I
Schindler's
also
List?
watched. No, maybe that would have been a good follow up, or maybe just too depressing. Last One Laughing.
Yes.
On Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Oh my God,
it's good.
I've enjoyed that so much. At first the setup was kind of like, oh, this could be hokey, but then you see who they've got, and you're like, okay, this got to be good. It's got to be good. It's just good. And my wife and I watched the first 2 episodes, which are out. I don't know if the 3rd one came out yet or not.
I think it's coming out today or tomorrow. PC.
I was going to say, it's supposed to be 1 a week.
Yeah.
And this is Last One Laughing Canada, they call it, which is, I guess, I don't know if they're going to do separate ones later, like a US one and stuff, but it's basically a bunch of Canadian comedians all locked in a room together for 6 hours. And the last one to laugh wins $10,000 for their charity, I think it was, or
I think it's 100,000.
I can't remember. Probably 100,000 makes more sense for their charity. So it's just star-studded cast, especially if you know anything about Canadian comedians, and it's just really fun. I like it a lot. I was going to say the cast here. Some of the ones, so Tom Green, Caroline Ray, Dave Foley, Colin Mockery, and then some other people that are more recent that you may or may not know. Trevor Wilson from Letterkenny, Andrew Fung from Kim's Convenience, and then some other people I don't personally know at all. Oh, there's Jay
Jay Baruchel is the one who hosts it.
Baruchel is the host, and then the other people I don't really know as well, but they were all decent so far. There's only been 2 episodes, so I think the first episode no one goes out, but the second episode someone does. Yeah.
Spoilers.
But just, I think that's just kind of the way shows go these days, right? Someone goes out. Just the first one, no one going out, if I remember correctly, is an unusual thing for a show where you're like kicking people out or, voting people out or whatever the case may be in some other shows. Yeah. It has a bit of the forced setup thing feel to it, but of course they're all comedians. They're doing a good job with it.
So what if I told you? What if I told you Laughing Out Loud is a remake of another show?
What?
It's actually
Last One Laughing.
Pardon? Last One Laughing. Sorry.
It's called Last One Laughing. It's a remake of.
It's actually based on a Japanese show called Documental, which is also on Amazon Prime.
Really?
It's a Japanese game show starring a very well-known Japanese comedian named Matsumoto. He's in all the Japanese game shows if you watch them on... I think there's 5 seasons of it on Amazon now. I've seen 4 of them. The main difference that I think... don't get me wrong, I think it's a good show on the Canadian side. I just don't know how far they're willing to go because I've seen how far the Japanese comedians are willing to go to try to make people laugh. I'm going straight to raunch, straight raunchy. Because that's the only other thing that will make those comedians laugh. They've seen everything else, right? They're taking a different approach.
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how easy it is for some of them, but I want to see how it goes. Yes.
And now
because I get it. They're comedians. They've seen everything. Yeah. But some of them have for example, the one girl really likes Tom Green.
Yeah.
The one comedian's I'm a huge fan. So, of course, Tom Green can get her going, and he realizes this at one point. Yeah. So that is just kind of a neat connection between them that you couldn't have anywhere else, and it doesn't need to be raunchy.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Even some of the raunchy stuff that is said doesn't get laughs, but ridiculous stuff, just ridiculous. Yeah. There's no reason to laugh at that. And they're laughing because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I see it going more so.
So take that times 10 or 100, whatever factor you want. That's the Japanese show.
Okay.
And it is.
And this is just the beginning. And they're also Canadian, so they're
all being pretty. They're all being pretty polite.
And polite.
Yeah. They're all being pretty polite, and that's the one thing about it. Now,
just watch it.
Yeah, you absolutely should watch it. I'm not saying it's bad in any way.
I kind of wish we had waited and binged it, but at the same time, after seeing the cast, I just wanted to watch it. My wife actually said watching it, she felt like she couldn't laugh at times.
Yeah. Yeah, you feel like you can't.
And I feel like the exact opposite most of the time. It's oh, they can't laugh, but I know I can, so that frees me to laugh more.
The one difference that I want to point out here is that the Last One Laughing is that the comedians are playing for a charity, right?
Yeah.
In Documental, each comedian has to buy their way into the competition. I saw that. I think it's 10,000 or $1 million yen or something like that. It's basically $10,000.
It was $1 million. Okay, yes.
You have to buy your way in for $10,000. And I think that is.
And
that is a huge.
What's the win? What do you win at the end?
Everyone puts in 10,000. Whoever is the last one wins the pot, basically.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I think that's the.
So it's for self-gain.
Self-gain.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're Canadians, so we're not playing that way. But I think that is the main difference because those comedians in Japan cannot laugh because they realize that they laugh, they're losing their own personal money or whatever they've done to get there, right? So there's more on the line. Whereas here, it's just whatever I laugh, whatever, I don't lose anything. It's just going, right? The stakes are a lot lower. And I think that shows in what people are willing to do, especially in the Japanese version, what they're willing to do to try to get other people to laugh. And it gets a lot more ridiculous. So,
Did you watch it translated?
Dubbed. No dubbed. Subbed.
yeah.
Sorry, subbed.
Oh, okay.
So
I'd rather it dubbed, but I don't know.
it's worth watching it, either whatever way you can get it. So just because
Okay.
I know everyone says it, but like the tones and inflections, especially when they're like,
I get it. Yeah, I know.
especially when they're being so expressive, because the way that they're saying something
And they're
is part of the
professionals, so they
joke.
can express
Yeah.
that way.
And I don't feel,
But it can't-
I feel a lot of that wouldn't come through if it was dubbed.
Unless it was well dubbed.
Yeah,
but
that would
not
be.
cheap.
I've yet to see a dub that would do that properly.
I'm sure I could think of something, but I can't think of it right now.
So, but yeah, it's a good show. Watch it. We'll see where it go. I'm not a huge fan of Jay Baruchel, to be honest, but
See, I'm hit or miss with him, but in this, he's just the host, right? He's just the one keeping things together.
yeah,
And I like that with him. He seems to be no holds barred, and right off the bat, he's swearing left, right, and center. And I was surprised by that in a way, because being an Amazon show and a Canadian show, I kind of expected them to keep it without swears much. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
But it's
unless
remember, it's
necessary.
an Amazon show, right? It's not.
Correct. I agree, but I figured Amazon was going to do it the safe way, that way. But I'm glad they did
I mean,
not.
they produced Documental, and it is not.
Okay.
So,
I wasn't sure if they just brought it over, right?
pardon?
I wasn't sure if they just bring it over,
Yeah.
right? Documental.
Basically, that's what they did. So,
Okay.
well, no, I think Amazon actually produced it. I think they actually paid for it.
Okay. Oh.
I remember. Anyways, watch both. Watch
gonna find
watch Last One Laughing. If you think that's funny, then go watch Documental, or start with Documental. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, if you want more of that, but you want 5 seasons of it, and they dump the whole season at once,
Yeah.
watch that.
See, I kind of want to try it, but I would rather not have to read subtitles so I don't miss the physical cues. That's the
It's
problem
not
I
that
have.
bad. It's really not that bad. They do a good job. I don't think they're translating everything. They're translating what you need to know to get through everything. So,
All right. Well, I also reached out to everybody in our Discord for questions. And Miles had the idea. He said, if you had to cast season 2 of LOL Canada with new comedians, who would make the show? And I liked this question.
it is a great
So
question.
I started looking into that. First of all, I don't know many modern comedians at all.
Me neither.
So that made it hard. Like I said, there was like 4 people on the show that I don't even know. They're doing fine. I like them, but I don't know who they are. I don't know their history, their background. So I did a little bit of research, just Googling who are some Canadian comedians, especially female, because I don't know that many young female comedians. It's not like it's something that I normally watch. So I did a little research and came up with a list of people. But it also includes other people, not just young females. So I think the host should be Eugene Levy.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
You don't think he would be a good competitor?
I think he would, but he's a good host. That was the problem.
What about switching it to like his son hosting it and Eugene taking part in it?
I don't think they should both be on. I don't think anyone from any show together should be on at the same time.
Probably too much history.
Yeah, history and ganging up or anything.
Yeah.
Just keep them separate, everybody equal, fair,
Yeah.
right?
I see.
I could easily switch out Eugene Levy as the host and change it for Dave Thomas, who was the next person I put on here from SCTV and Strange Brew.
I don't.
Bob and Doug McKenzie,
Okay.
right?
I'm not familiar,
So-
but that's okay.
Really? Okay. You'd recognize him to see him.
Probably.
You know Strange Brew and Bob and Doug McKenzie,
I know Bob
right?
and Doug McKenzie, but I don't know Strange Brew.
Yeah, so he's one of them.
Okay, fair enough. Again, this is a really bad question. When I said on Discord I don't feel qualified for this conversation, this is part of it because I
There's a
do
reason.
not know
Yeah.
a lot of,
Canadian.
especially Canadian comedians. I'm not a huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's only going to get worse from
Okay,
here.
and I'll just gonna sit here going,
Except the next one, Russell Peters.
Okay, yep, I know Russell Peters.
Yeah, I would like to see Russell Peters do something like this. And then, I also tried to exclude anyone that's like Hot Shots big time. Russell Peters is almost there,
He's
but
basically there. Yeah.
I'm saying like no Jim Carrey, no Mike Myers is the way I was kind of
Yeah.
going,
Okay.
right?
Like mega stars. Yeah.
Yeah, like movie star
Yeah.
size. Yeah.
Although Mike Myers has kind of fallen out of grace lately, so maybe he.
Probably, but he's probably still worth tons of
Yeah.
money and wouldn't want to do something like this. And people might be intimidated by it is the other thing. Like I want people who are intimidated because of a legacy, not because of a career. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, the next person on my list is Mike McDonald. Do you remember Mike McDonald? He's from Just for Laughs. I should really be sharing my screen so you can see who these people are. It would make this much more interesting for you. Which screen am I sharing? I am sharing. Come on, my mouse keeps freezing for some reason. I don't know why. Monitors. Can you see anything?
I can. Yes.
Can you see yourself?
Yes.
Okay, this guy. Do you know this guy? Mike McDonald?
He looks familiar.
He's mainly Just for Laughs is what I know him from.
Okay.
Okay. And then this guy. Oh, maybe I should go back and show you Dave Thompson for a second. Or Thomas here. Not Dave Thompson. Dave Thomas. This guy. He's aged in this photo, obviously, but this is the good old. Anyway, Canadian comedian.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got Harlan Williams. I'm assuming that would be someone you would know, but this guy from Rocket Man, the movie.
Yeah, I know him from Half Baked.
Okay. So he was also big on Just for Laughs. This might be too many Just for Laughs people, but as a Canadian, Just for Laughs is pretty much where you saw every comedian.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy Hortz, also Just for Laughs, but he has a unique kind of funny, would be pretty good too. If anybody knows him, he's the one who always talks with his hand against his mouth. Okay. Anyway, Andrea Martin, I don't know if she's still working or not, but she would be really good. She's from SCTV and says she was born in the U.S., but she lived in Canada for over 50 years, so she became a Canadian citizen. I always assumed she was Canadian, but... And then I picked... I looked up how to say her name, and I forget. Luba Goy from This Hour Has 22... Sorry, from Royal Canadian Air Farce.
Oh, okay, yeah, I recognize her
she's
face.
just a classic Canadian icon from Air Farce.
Yeah.
And then there was Kathy Greenwood, who was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? I didn't realize she was Canadian, but it totally makes sense that she's Canadian. Do you remember her at all or not?
I don't know. I don't recognize her.
She was fairly common on Whose Line, the one with Drew Carey.
Yeah.
And then I had to look up some other ones because I was like, I don't know these people. Some younger, newer comedians that aren't, just legacy old people from things from my youth or whatever. Anyway, Lori Elliott. So I just watched a few stand-up things of hers, and she was pretty funny. She would be good too, I think. And then Meredith McNeil, I just watched some of her stand-up too, and then realized she's actually on This Hour Has 22 Minutes, the new version of that, which I haven't seen, except watching a few clips that I watched. And then she also has a show with 3 other women in Canada called Baroness Von Sketch Show, which is like a sketch comedy. It feels a lot like Portlandia.
Okay.
But it's just these 4 women comedians come up with sketches. I think they were all Second City trained comedians.
Yeah.
So very Saturday Night Live type skills and stuff like that, and SCTV, of course. Anyway, she seemed really funny. And then this other person, Lily Singh, who is a Canadian YouTuber who does sketches on YouTube that are actually pretty good. I just watched a couple. It does say she's actually in the hospital right now, but that aside, I think she would be hilarious as well. That's just the people that I picked. I'm pretty sure I did 10, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I did 11.
11.
Whatever.
Okay, you go.
Yeah.
You got the.
We can't get Eugene Levy. He's too big
You got
deal
the rain
anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My wife and I did notice that the newer show, the show that's currently on doesn't have that many women, so maybe it would be good to have more women.
Mm-hmm.
Balance it out. Yeah. I realized I was sharing my screen and I had a game that I was going to play sometime right above there.
Oh, I wasn't even looking.
Hopefully you didn't see it.
Wasn't even looking.
I figured you weren't, but
I'm not that observant.
I figured I'd mentioned it once I scrolled away just to tease you.
Dang it, I'm going to rewind. Oh, I can't do that.
So you have any other people you can think of?
Man, I'm going to sound like a broken record. But, like, you got to throw a wild card in there. And why not throw Kenny Hotz in there?
Yeah, from Kenny
I know it sounds stupid, but
I thought the wild card was that guy from Rocket Man, the what's his name? Harlan Williams. He's a little bit off the wall.
Yeah, he's a little off the wall. But I'm talking about, like, you want someone in there who is just going to throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. That's Kenny. It's got to be Kenny.
It's what Tom Green is right now.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah. I can see that.
And he's a comedian. He's a director. Like, he does all these things, so
yeah,
fits in.
Yeah, it would be good.
Other than that,
That's a good call.
I mean, I think you've hit most of them. I'm really bad with Canadian talent in general. So, I mean, you could put Martin Short in there. Why didn't you think of Martin Short?
I know, I thought about it, but I didn't want to. He's like big on the Murders in the Building, only Murders in the Building things. I'm like, he's too big now. Steve Martin.
Steve Martin is. I thought he was born in Texas.
Oh yes, he's American. I forgot we were going with Canadians. I just was only Murders in the Building.
I mean, we're gonna go American. Comedian. This sounds bad for me. I know a lot more American comedians than I do Canadian comedians.
Yeah.
Like,
well, at least you didn't go the route that somebody in our Discord did, who just named off a whole bunch of dead Canadian comedians.
I mean, he's absolutely right, though. Norm Macdonald would have been perfect.
Yeah, he is right, but that doesn't mean we can do dead comedians. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh jeez. Oh boy.
Oh jeez. Oh boy.
Where is this? Why is my Discord not visible here? What have I done? Not stay on top. Where is my actual Discord? I was trying to get back to the chat. There we are. There we are.
It's everywhere.
Oh boy. So we had. I was going to say who that was that actually said that. The dead comedians. That was Johnny PC. Candy Palmer. I don't think I know Candy Palmer. John Candy. Phil Hartman. Dave Broadfoot. I don't know. Ivan Reitman. Leslie Nielsen. And Sean
Majumdar. I don't think he's dead.
Okay, maybe it's not dead people. I don't know. Everybody else is dead, right?
If he died, I'd be very surprised.
Well, we will find out in a moment, won't we?
No, he's still alive. We're good.
Oh yeah, he's good. I like him. He's the other just for laughs guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know why he named him. I'll see who this Dave Broadfoot guy is. David Broadfoot. Why can I not get to the right window? Yeah, he's
Royal Canadian Air Force.
dead. He died in 2016.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, the Air Force guy. Yeah, I remember him. He was good. Old guy with glasses. If that helps anybody, but
not really.
Yeah.
It's so generic.
I'm gonna look up Candy Palmer next because hey, why not? This is good podcasting.
This is good, yeah.
I don't know her. She's not dead, right? Oh, she did. She died last year, 2021, December 25th.
Oh man.
Day after Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know her either.
Huh. What is she from? She is from The Candy Show. Okay. And Candy Palmer Show on BBC Radio 1. Huh. I don't know her. All right. Anyway, so we also had Top Spot chime in on the Discord saying he wants us to tier list all his 100 plus videos on YouTube on his channel.
Top Spot, you got to get off this tier listing idea. This is first of all the alphabet.
For Top Spot, I actually started tier listing his categories of videos at least, and then I realized I can't say anything bad about any of them, so it's completely pointless. So I didn't do it.
There you go, Top Spot.
I started to. I honestly started to. I made a list of all of his categories, which was game room ideas, product reviews or unboxings, shorts, collection highlights, state of the channel, game reviews, lists. Actually, I had more than that because I dug a little deeper and found more. Saying goodbye. I forget what else there was, but this is the old list, so I missed the new ones. Anyway, it's all good. There is no bad, so they're all SS tier.
Very perfect.
Done.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And then Top Spot replied back after Miles's question.
Look at this giant like essay he wrote.
I know. You want to read some? I don't want to read it all.
Oh man, you're
This
gonna
is so much.
I'll
I've
read
been
the first
talking
sentence.
too much. You read.
You read the rest.
No, I'll read the first one. You read the next one.
No, I'll do it.
What is this, class? English class? Reading out loud? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I said you go ahead.
Okay, fine. All right. I'm not going to read the whole thing. My real question is probably about Canadian television. So it's like I grew up watching quite a bit of Canadian produced TV, often without me knowing at the time. You can't do that on television, some SCTV, and eventually Kids in the Hall. What were some of your favorite shows growing up, regardless of origin? Any excitement for the Kids in the Hall reunion on Amazon Prime? We can start there, and then we'll continue the rest later.
Yeah, like I loved Kids in the Hall. We didn't watch it that much because I don't think my dad really liked it. It was just too borderline for us being kids watching that. But my brothers definitely liked it, so we did watch it when possible.
I've never seen Kids in the Hall.
You should, because I think it's right up your alley. But that aside, today's special, I have a lot of nostalgia for today's special. Fred Penner.
Yeah.
And Mr. Dressup.
Yeah, Mr. Dressup for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when Ernie Coombs, who played Mr. Dressup, passed away. And I remember my dad, who also worked for a garbage company at the time, knew a back way into the building so we could go in. He showed us a way into the building where we could, kind of see the memorial for him.
Oh.
And I remember that being kind of hard for me as a kid because I realized what had happened. Like, cause when you're actually kind of confronted with death for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with someone who, like, you feel like you knew so well watching TV. So
right? Yeah, him and Fred Penner both. It's like, I actually felt more like I knew Fred Penner. I think I watched Fred Penner first, maybe.
Maybe. So I watched a lot more. I watched a lot more Mr. Dressup.
Gotcha.
And I mean a lot.
I watched a lot of Mr.
Lot
Dressup,
more.
but
Yeah.
Yeah. Under the Umbrella Tree is another one I didn't mention. I forgot to mention.
Okay.
Good TV show as well for kids. Yeah. We actually have some of it on DVD.
Wow, look at you go.
I had another list. What did I have?
My favorite kids show growing up was like Arthur, which by the way just had its final episode this past week?
I don't know. My wife was just saying she saw a picture of Arthur all grown up or something.
Yeah, it's like I think the hook of the episode was that everything we'd seen up to this point was basically him as like a graphic artist showing his animating his life up to that point or something like that.
I see. Okay.
I think that's what I read. But I remember that being the show that I would I'd be out and I'd have to make sure I was home in time to watch Arthur. That's how old I am. So, I mean, I really could be any age. That could have been last year too, because apparently it was still in the air.
Yeah, my kids watched it. Like, it was still being updated. It was still modern topics. Like, they were doing a decent job.
Yeah.
Teaching kids important lessons, I think.
Yeah. I will show it to my kids one day, hopefully. I think I showed them one episode one time. But I think that was one episode where like DW was just being a brat, and I was just like, I mean, she is a brat most of the time, but it was like, maybe this is a little early. I don't want you to imitate her right now. So
I was just scrolling through some more shows, and I just saw Open Mic with Mike Bullard. I totally forgot that show existed.
Never even heard of it
until right now, and he was a comedian. He'd be good too if he's even still alive. I have no idea. Are You Afraid of the Dark? I watched as a kid.
Watched that once in a while, but
Goosebumps.
not not with any regularity.
Red Green Show.
Red Green is great. That is another one that I
Yeah.
watched a lot.
We watched that a lot.
I went to a taping of the Red Green Show.
Wow. Can we see you on tape?
I think so.
Great.
Don't ask me what episode it is. We actually recorded it on TV. We had the VCR out ready to record ourselves. I went all out. By the way, this wasn't like... I want to say this was like 2001?
Okay.
2002 maybe? So I guess it's...
Started in
retro
95. No, 91. Says it's 15 seasons.
Yeah, something like that. It's weird. It was another one of those like out of body experiences where you're like, I associated everything what I've seen on TV in a certain way, and then when you get to the studio, you realize, oh, all the sets are just here. There's the Firewatch Tower. Yeah. There's the the clubhouse. There's the lodge. There's everything is just there, and you just look from left to right. You can see everything. In my head, I'm like, these are all completely different places. It kind of broke television for me, even though I was in my teens by then, right? So,
oh man,
it was very strange.
Red Green's son, Red Green Jr., streams on Twitch.
Oh, really?
He streams like episodes of the show and him playing video games.
Oh wow!
Like he's a grown ass man. But he streams episodes of the show and him playing video games. It's pretty funny.
That's funny.
I watched for a bit, but
I'm surprised you can get away with that. It's all copyright.
I assume they own part of it, is my guess. Especially the show being that old now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you own it, doesn't mean a whole lot. Didn't Metallica play on Twitch, and then they had to dub over their own?
But it's Canadian.
They had to dub over their own concert because of copyright.
That serves them right because they fought for copyright for so long. That could not be more perfect for them. Yeah, it looks like 2012 was the last season, I think. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
That's the release anyway. No, 2005. But they keep releasing DVDs after that. I don't know. This Wikipedia page is terrible. Oh, because there's a separate article for seasons. 2005, 2006. That's the last season. Anyway, Red Green. If you don't know Red Green Show, look up the Red Green Show.
Yes.
Duct tape fixes everything.
Very funny. To the point where duct tape has become like a cultural phenomenon in Canadian culture. Right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just Canadian or not, because I swear I hear it referenced all the time.
Probably, but I hear it more in Canadian culture than I do anywhere else.
Okay.
So that's because of the Red Green Show.
It was good.
So
it was really good.
Should I move on to the second part here?
Yeah, I think I'm running out of ideas for other shows. Yeah.
I think I'm pretty... That's again, I'm going to sound very...
Yeah.
Unknowledgeable. That's not even a word. Whatever, you know what I mean? Because, again, I didn't grow up here. Like, I grew up overseas and just did not have access to cable television or even over-the-air television for most of the stuff. So I'm just not even in the realm of understanding most of it or seeing most of it. Or just a lot of it just went right past me. Mm-hmm. So, or I went right past it, I guess you'd say. All right, Top Stop continues. Especially when I was younger, I never noticed a Canadian accident. Gosh, I can't read today. Accent. Canadian accent in the shows I watched. But for whatever reason, I find it pretty noticeable now. And when my niece was into spooky shows, we'd watch some of the old episodes of Goosebumps on Netflix. And it was immediately apparent where it was shot. Do you ever get tired of the a or a boot cliches? Yeah, all the time. Because I don't think we say a boot.
We don't really. I say a.
Yeah, we say a. I mostly say a because of the stereotype.
Oh, see, I've always said a.
Yeah.
I also grew up in a small town, so
that would also
the way people talk.
Again, also,
but a boot is. I find a boot is more like.
It's more eastern, like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick.
Right? Yeah.
That's where you'd see about that. The one thing that the other cliche, there's certain things that I don't like, or I guess this kind of goes to the other thing. Are there any cliches about American accents that we don't know about? Are there? I'm not sure we know.
I don't think there's anything. Every American accent Americans already know of. You know what I mean?
But it is true. There is like you can tell where a certain person is from by the way they
like
talk, right?
Minnesota,
Minnesota,
Brooklyn, like you've got
Boston, Texas.
Yeah.
You can pick them out.
yeah.
New York, all that kind of things. The one thing that really bothers me for like the cliche is when Americans call Canada Canada. That for some reason that just irks me. I really don't like that. Like I don't know why, but it's not Canada. It's just not. Where is this adia coming from? What part? I don't understand.
I've never heard that from someone trying to be serious. I
know it's always a joke, but I'm just like I don't understand where that came from. Why is it Canada? No,
me neither.
Anyways, moving on.
Only America.
Cliches about American accents. I say always Americans say huh like we say a.
Could see it.
Or
y'all.
Y'all is one.
Again,
yeah, we don't really say
everyone,
y'all that much. That's a thing. That's an American thing.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
The next part I have thoughts about.
Okay. Of course you would. And has Josh lived in many places around the world, yet I still get that hint of an accent or verbiage use that just points towards Canada. Is that the part you have a point about?
Is the next part. Sorry,
Okay.
The next one, right? I think so.
Can you attribute that to anything? Are either of you multilingual, or have other naturally earned accents that you have still, that you still have or used to have?
So when I'm around my family, I talk more like a redneck.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. When I am speaking to Americans, so I've done customer support on the phone for 15 years or more now. When I talk to Americans on the phone, I tend to start talking like whoever I'm talking to.
Yep. It's that mimicking thing. I do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I've had Americans ask me where I'm from in America. Like, they swear up and down that I am not Canadian. And I've
Minnesota.
had one even argue with me. Are you sure you're not American? And it just, when I talk to somebody, I start mimicking, mirroring, not even realizing that I'm doing it.
Yeah, I do the same
and talking
thing.
like them.
Yeah.
And the longer I talk, the worse it gets.
You almost become like a caricature.
Yeah. It's like me impersonating them, but not in an insulting way, or hopefully not in a way they notice.
Yeah. You're just talking
Yeah.
the same cadence, the same speech patterns, the same inflections, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the same thing. I used to get teased because I would do it with like, I grew up with, when I grew up in Toronto, we went to I have Jamaican friends, and so I start talking a little bit like with a Jamaican accent, not on purpose, and it probably wasn't even very good, but it's just something my mind did. And then same thing when I lived overseas, when I spoke to the people there, we would go to Ghana, which is an English-speaking country, but they speak kind of like very blocky English in a way, like it's almost very. It's very structured.
You're like William Shatner? No.
Anyway, so I would just mimic the way that the Ghanaians would speak English to the point where anyone else who was around.
Not Guyanese.
Ghana. Not
Sorry, not Guyana. Yeah. Got it.
Ghana. To the point, like, people I was with look at me and be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking like that? I'm like, I don't even know why I do it. I just do it. So.
Yeah. And with me, it was more like I'm instructing this person, so I already, like you said, have to match their pace. If it's an old lady, I need to talk slow so she understands what I'm saying. Therefore, sometimes I pick up other things that she's saying, like if she drags on her R or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Are either of you multilingual?
No, I'm not.
I'm bilingual, I would say. I speak English and French.
How well do you speak French?
Less now than before, but when I lived overseas in Africa, we lived in a French speaking country. So
And before that, you were in Montreal?
Quebec City. So we lived in Quebec
Quebec
City
City,
for
okay,
almost
yes,
2 years. I went to public school.
And
in
you've
Quebec.
talked before about how that was difficult, right?
Yes.
So obviously you learned French more
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. So speaking, I'm pretty good. I cannot write French. For some reason, that doesn't stick with me. I even took French in university, and I got through it. But now, if you ask me to write something in French, I can't remember anything writing. I can speak it.
Yeah,
I can read
I
it
can-
okay as well, but
I can
can't.
vaguely interpret what it's trying to say when reading it, but it's not easy. I took French in high school because it was required, elementary and high school. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think only grade 9, 10 maybe in high school. I can't remember. Whatever is required, basically. But I really like languages and the way languages are like each other, and that helps me try to do that.
Yeah.
Like I see a word, like my wife's Portuguese. My kids take Portuguese school on Saturdays, and I try to help with the homework sometimes, and I try to equate the word to the English, French, or Spanish equivalent if I know it. Like casa is basically the same in Spanish, Portuguese, and but no, anyway, maison is French, but it doesn't help. But there's other words where you have related things in each language, even if it's totally different languages, but they mean the same thing and the word's pretty close.
Yeah.
English is usually an outlier, but sometimes French is, sometimes Spanish is, whatever. But I like that kind of stuff, even if it's coming like the root of the word, like it comes from Latin anyway. Both of them derive from the Latin word for blah. You know what I mean? That stuff I find interesting. I'm no good at it. I do it in passing, and sometimes it helps with listening to my wife and her mother talk in Portuguese.
You can pick out a word here and there.
Yeah.
I do the same with. So my parents still speak French. They're not French speaking natively. My dad is funny because my dad was a native German speaker because my grandparents are German. They immigrated from Germany here.
Okay.
And so my dad grew up speaking German in the house, and then when he went to school, then learned English. So English is his second language, but now is his primary. And then learned French after that. And now he speaks English and French more than he can speak German. Like,
Got it.
how strange that moves. Anyways, because we lived overseas, we picked up the like French sayings, that even stuff that, you can say it in French and it doesn't make sense in English when you say it. I can't think of a specific example right now, but there are things that my dad will just say in French to me, and I immediately know what he's talking about or what he's saying or why he's saying something like that. Yeah, we still speak, even if we're in a setting where we don't want people to know what we're saying. Like my dad will speak French to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. My wife and her sister with Portuguese.
It annoys my wife to no end. She's like, "What are you saying? Don't talk French in front of me." She's like, "Talk French to me," because she likes it, but she's like, "Don't talk about me with French."
Morticia, that's French.
Yeah. So, I think we answered that question.
Yeah.
That's most of it.
Yeah. This top spot being nice said. So there's a few ideas, but just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Thank you, Top
Top
Spot.
Spot.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the interaction.
So we got another comment from Johnny PC. Said, I think the moment you rein in your production into being Canadian, you narrow your audience. If you're gonna talk Canadian TV and reference to how it was absorbed in different markets, maybe because you lived there or whatever, or you can combine two target demos, build out of threads, things that are big in the U.S. and things that never landed. I think a lot of Canadian TV comes off immediately as Canadian TV when you watch it because of like production quality or something. I don't
Production
know what
quality
it
is
is.
the thing that gives it away right away.
Like lighting or sets or whatever it is, I don't know, but I can often, if I see a TV show that I am not familiar with, I can tell you if it looks Canadian.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. Bill and Joe would probably have a better idea. Bill and Joe of STC Pod, but
and that's where I honestly would
in
direct
production, but-
John Boy PC, because I I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of Canadian television, with this stuff. But if you want to, John Boy, if you're listening, if you really want to know about Canadian television, I would direct you to STC Pod, because those are two guys, Bill and Joe, who work in Canadian television. Even Kevin on Retro Fandango, like a lot of them grew up airing a lot of this stuff, and they would know a lot more, and they could talk a lot more like industry insiders. So,
yep, they could probably answer that thoroughly in just a few sentences if they wanted to.
A lot more interesting than when he could.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if it's because it's cheap, like lower budget, or if it's a different style. I don't know.
I just always think Degrassi. Every time I think Canadian television, Degrassi is the one that comes to mind. I've maybe watched 3 episodes of Degrassi in my life, but you can definitely tell that as a Canadian show.
But have you watched the new Degrassi?
No.
The more recent stuff that was made, like with Kevin Smith's help and all that stuff.
No.
I'm curious. I'm assuming it's different. I assume most Canadian TV today even is different, but I don't watch a lot of it. I guess I could say kids shows. So if you watch TVO, that's TV Ontario for anyone who doesn't know, is like a partly publicly funded TV show broadcast over the air. They have a lot of original content, and especially for children. They have like kids TV from like 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. every day. And they have a show called Odd Squad, which is a kids TV show that I absolutely would watch all day if I had to. Like, I have no problem watching that show. It is a good, educational, and funny kids TV show. But I don't really see the Canadian, whatever it is, to that show. It's a little bit, but in terms of production and stuff, it doesn't come off looking like it's Canadian. I could easily mistake that for not being Canadian. So it's probably just an 80s, 90s thing with the Canadian look that we were talking about. I don't even know if it was there in the 2000s. I have no idea.
No.
I can't even think of many Canadian TV shows at that time. Yeah. And then, so he continues also with, like, why was Kids in the Hall successful and why is it being redone now for Amazon? I couldn't tell you. To me, I always saw Kids in the Hall, the way my family perceived it, as something we would watch, but we weren't really allowed to watch. So it was kind of like it was taboo and we weren't supposed to be watching it.
Which makes it all the more alluring.
Yeah, like men dressing up as women is part of that, let alone the type of humor. And yeah, it just seems like a bunch of college guys making jokes that we could watch on TV, right?
Yeah.
Which it probably was. I don't know how it's being redone with Dave Foley being on this new Laugh Out Loud show. I almost wonder if he has
Last One
connections
Laughing,
to
please
Amazon.
get it right.
Sorry, Last One Laughing. My gosh. Last One Laughing show. I wonder if he has connections at Amazon. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Oh, probably,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure he's been on the production side for years in TV, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's somehow involved or knows somebody or whatever it is, but it's cool. I'm glad. I would like to see that. The only thing I worry is that it's going to be weird having just a bunch of old white dudes on a show doing sketch comedy they used to do, and it'll force them into doing too much of one thing or something like that. I noticed that already with that sketch comedy show I was talking about that was for women, but they have other people on there when they need to. It's like, as I said, it feels a lot like Portlandia that way.
Yeah.
You have the main people, but then there's always other people that are just regular actors and stuff. And maybe they'll do that, but that's not Kids in the Hall, really. Kids in the Hall was dress up as a woman when you need a woman, just like Monty Python was dress up as a woman when you need a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. He continues. Is this U.S. Can co-production? I don't know if it's co-production or not. I have no idea. Was it exclusively financed with Canadian money? No idea. I mean, I'm sure that's somewhere you can Google. I was thinking of doing it, but didn't get around to looking at it. I think I did a quick Google search and didn't find anything on Wikipedia and just stopped there. Yeah. And then the target audience, no idea.
I think a lot of his questions here, again, should just be targeted. We're not the people to answer these questions.
We're just Canadians. We aren't Canadian production
Yeah.
people.
Definitely go check out STC Pod and Retro Fandango. Actually, he's not buried on Mars. He's Canadian Grooves now on Twitter.
Yeah.
Go and ask those guys. Those would be the guys to direct those questions to. So
Feels like my mic has gone up in volume.
you sound the same to me.
Weird. Do I? Okay. Well, Discord could be messing that up. But I'm peaking more and I'm getting more noise floor as well.
You're getting
before.
more excited. That's all.
That's possible. It is possible. But when I'm not talking, there's more noise there.
Yeah. Well,
I was worried my mic was too close to my face now. Maybe it's fallen down. That could make sense.
who knows?
Anyway, shock mount's not tight enough. All right. And then he continues as well with, was there a resurgence during the pandemic? What's the market value of a reboot? Yeah, a lot of questions I can't answer. I wish I could. And I do hope that cheap production like this, yeah, this is related to one of his questions. I do hope that cheap sketch comedy like this is going to be more popular because I enjoy it myself. If there was another Who's Line now, I'd be thrilled by that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a good show. Yeah. And then we got another question from Joe in Discord. On that line of thinking, I find it curious just how many references I see to Letterkenny outside of Canadian communities. I can see why. It's got catchy banter, some fun characters, but it amuses me every time I see a "to be fair" chain pop up in unexpected places. I completely agree, and sometimes I wonder if it is coming from Letterkenny that these references are, or if I'm just projecting that on it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if they drag it out like that, you know it. But like Linus Tech Tips has been doing a lot of things that sound like Letterkenny references lately on his videos, and I'm like, is that intentional or is that not intentional? Did he pick it up from someone who picked it up from Letterkenny and it's indirect?
Yeah.
Or what is that? Because I'm curious. I really like that show. Have you watched that show?
I've watched
Josh?
the first 2 seasons. Yes.
Okay. So not enough.
Apparently not enough.
Degrassi was something I was also going to mention because of the American, I assume American reboot of it, and there's still more as well. They're making another one called Degrassi.
Oh really?
Announced January 13th.
Goodness.
Or sorry, January 13th of this year on HBO Max.
I just can't let it go.
No, they can't. My wife does like Degrassi.
Apparently, it was such a huge cultural phenomenon.
And yet, I never watched an episode. I watched Ready or Not, and then confused it with Degrassi.
Yeah, Degrassi's where Drake came from, man. Like,
yeah, I'm aware. Meh.
I'm gonna see Drake as a cripple. That's where he started.
Yep.
Crazy.
Eh.
I did want to mention a little bit. We can move on shortly here. If I can find where this was put, I believe it was Joe asking a lot of questions about like, asking more about me and kind of. I keep talking about living in other countries and motorcycles and stuff like that, and I did mention in the Discord, like I always assume people just know about me because otherwise why would you be listening to this podcast if you didn't know who I was? I think I've mentioned enough over the past several years that I've been on YouTube, but again, not everybody knows me from YouTube. So, I'm just going to do a quick recap, hopefully under 5 minutes, just to kind of get everybody up and running. I grew up overseas in a country called Burkina Faso in West Africa. That's where my parents were working, and I moved there when I was 9 years old and moved back to Canada when I was 17. Spent a long time there. That's where I grew to love motorcycles. Bought a motorcycle there. Crashed motorcycles there, quite a few. Went on motorcycle trips. That's where the love comes from. I lived in a city with running water and electricity, and then I also lived in a village with We had gas lanterns or oil lanterns, and we had outhouses and no running water, and the both opposite extremes, and we would do like 2 week stints in each one, so back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, so I've kind of had a wild time there, but it's strange because that's normal to me. And so when people says, "Oh, this must have been exciting for you," I'm like, I don't know. I guess so. As I'm older now, and I realize it was exciting, but at the time, that's just what life was, and that was normal to me. I realize that probably sounds weird to say, but hopefully someone understands that. Joe does ask specifically about motorcycles. I'm on my third motorcycle now, technically my second.
Why technically your second?
So the second motorcycle was technically my dad's. I just rode it.
Okay.
It was just,
I figured it was something like that.
I bought a cheap Chinese 80cc motorcycle. It was an 80cc 4-stroke, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Like, to get any power out of an 80cc, you'd think it'd have to be a 2-stroke just to get the power band out of it, if that makes any sense. But you didn't have to mix oil. It was pretty good. It was a 4-speed something cheap Chinese bike. Bought it for like $600. And then my dad had a Yamaha DT 125. It was an enduro, so it was like a dirt bike with lights that you could take on the road. That is the bike I crashed when I nearly died. That was one of my near-death experiences, was crashing that bike. And then when we moved back here after a couple of years, I finally bought another bike. So now I have a Suzuki GS 500E. And that's the bike I've been riding for, gosh, like 10 years now. Over 10 years I've had this bike. So, any questions? That was my question.
Any questions from the audience?
Any questions from the audience? Feel free to throw them out somewhere. Hopefully that answers something. People know kind of my... So when I say I don't know a lot about Canadian television, because literally my formative years, right, from 9 to 17, all the years I'd be watching TV and getting home from school and high school and all that stuff, like, I just didn't have that. I didn't have TV. We didn't have a TV in our house, right? So if we wanted a TV, we had to go rent a TV. And that means, like, we'd get the TV for a night, and then it goes back the next day, and we'd watch a movie. So, yeah, nuts. That's why I'm catching up on so many movies now, because I missed so many back then.
Right? Yeah. See, and my only excuse is I grew up on a farm where we had an antenna on the roof, and cable wasn't possible.
There you go. See?
But that's only until grade 4, and then we moved into town where it got cable.
My family was always too cheap to get cable. I think we had cable once because someone paid for it for us. And we only had it for like 3 months, and then we were gone back to Africa. So, who knows?
Yeah, I don't remember. We might have not had cable for the first year. I wonder if my parents remember that or not.
So yeah, any more questions? If I can, maybe it'll be a month before you hear from me, but
Yeah.
Maybe people are interested. I feel like I run through it a lot because I say it a lot to a lot of people, and I feel like everyone,
because most people would assume that that's not the case, right?
Exactly. So I also tend to just
to be racist. They look at you and they think, nah.
That's the main thing is, like, a lot of people. I'm not trying to equate myself to the African American experience of racism in North America, but like when I lived in Africa, I definitely lived in a racist society. A racist in the fact that I was white in a like majority black area, obviously. Like it wasn't it was racist in the fact that everyone looked at me and my family as because we are white, we are rich, right? That is the stereotype, is you're obviously you're there, you're rich, right? But they don't. You try to tell them the fact that there are white people in North America who are homeless, and they literally cannot believe it. They say, no, you're making that up. That's not true. Every white person in Canada or in America lives in a giant house. They have helpers to help them do everything, right? And all these helpers are, minority people essentially.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's definitely worse racism than that.
I'm not trying, like I said,
yeah.
I'm not trying to say my racism.
But it's an interesting point, like, yeah, to just think that they think like that because they don't know.
Exactly. So it's a
that would be interesting to tell to a hard to find but open-minded racist white person. Have fun trying to find that
person.
Group
Yeah, that's a very specific
would
person.
Learn something from that statement, but that would be very interesting to do if it was possible.
Yeah, it was like the opposite side, literally like the bizarro racism side of things that you don't expect to see. But then, like, with that comes with, like, everyone, because they think that you're rich, they obviously are continually asking you for things, right? I need money for this. I need money for this. My parents haven't been to Africa or back to Africa for over 8 years, and they still have people in Africa emailing them or messaging them on Facebook asking them for things, to send them money so they can buy food, or they can do this, or they can go there, send their kids to school. Like, it's a constant thing. So even I've had friends that used to hang out in the village who didn't have electricity, but now they're on Facebook. It's so strange. But now they're, like, friending me on Facebook. And I did add a couple, but I had to, like, almost take them off because it's just constant requests. Hey, can you send me money so I can do this? Can you send me money so I can buy a bus ticket to go here? Or I can buy a guitar so I can play in a music festival coming up. Or, it's just constant asking me. I'm like, I'm not rich.
I wonder if people that, so I have had several coworkers who are from, let's say, India and come here to work, but they still have family in India.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they do send money back to family.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they experience the same kind of thing as that.
They do.
Where they have family begging them, or friends, people they went to high school with, whatever the case may be, because they perceive that you live here now, you must be rich. And maybe there is a difference in income, and I could see that making a difference, but the one person I'm thinking of right now, of a coworker I was working with on the other team when I was on the other team, he told me, like, he still has so much student debt that he basically doesn't make good money. So it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah. And a lot of the people who are like sending money back home to their families and stuff, like, that's income that they are also very much dependent on, right, to live.
Yeah.
Right? Because there either isn't enough jobs or employment opportunities or money-making opportunities over there that aren't, questionable or illegal. Right, so this is part of the money-making strategy. Also, a lot of the families probably put money together to send that person overseas to work to make more money,
that
right?
too.
So they kind of, are paying them back, and that's part of the strategy. And we also don't see how frugally those people who are here, they're living very frugally in order to send as much money possible back home, right, to their families.
Yeah, you can see that for sure.
So. But yeah, I'm sure they feel it as well. Like, hey, sometimes I want to go to a movie, but they feel bad because that's money they could be sending home. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
Who knows?
Or to someone to buy a guitar to play at a festival, which might be their lifelong dream.
It might be.
Yeah.
Anyways, that got very serious for a second. We could probably lighten things up a little bit.
Well, let's make it not serious. I have a game for you, but I didn't prepare well enough for it.
Uh-oh. All right.
This game is called I Literally Just Told You. And I'm stealing it from the Kagcast again, Cheap Ass Gamer podcast, which is an awesome podcast. You should listen to it if you don't already, Josh.
I don't, but
and
I
everyone
should,
else. Yes. You should. It's the longest running podcast I know of.
Really? Okay.
More
than Joe Rogan? Really? More than Joe Rogan?
Yeah. For sure. Okay. I think Nerdist is the only one that might be close.
Okay.
Like the ID10T
Nerdist
podcast. Nerdist, yeah. So it basically it's things that we've just talked about in this podcast.
Okay.
I wish I would have been more prepared, but I forgot to scroll down that far because I was talking about all the other stuff we were doing.
Okay.
So I just wrote down a few quickly. When do purchases open up for Steam Deck?
Tomorrow.
Yay,
Hey,
you got it.
I remember.
How much did I sell my Yeti for?
It was either 50 or 55.
55. How much did I buy the new Yeti for?
150.
150. What color is my water bottle?
White.
Yeah.
Hey.
Good job. So I wish I'd wrote down more things. They're supposed to be
Hey,
like,
I passed with flying
who said
colors.
this? What was that? What color? What's that?
I passed with flying colors. Look at that.
Yes.
What
white even.
size was the motorcycle? My first motorcycle. What cc was it? Come on.
80 cc?
Pardon?
80?
You were right. Look at that. Look at you go.
Yeah. My first mini bike was a 50 cc.
That's usually a good starting point. 50 cc is
And I shared it with my brothers and my sister.
classic.
Yeah. And then it broke because we got it from my uncle Dan. It broke like after we had it for like 2 years, and he took it back to fix it, and then he sold it
Oops.
because he didn't think we'd want it back.
I have a mini bike project sitting. Part of it is here and part of it is at my parents' house that I've been
You do?
trying to put together for years.
And why do I keep sending you Facebook listings for mini bikes?
Yeah, because I'm never going to put mine together. I just like to look at it and pretend I'm going to put it together.
What make is it?
It's just a homemade
Those
one.
Coleman
It's
ones?
not a...
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's not bad though.
no.
I found one of those mini crotch rockets.
Are they the pocket bikes? Yeah.
Yeah, but it had no motor. So I gave it to my brother in hopes that he'll do something with it, like put a weed whacker motor on it or put electric motor
It's
in it. or
basically
something
what they
like
have
that.
on
He
there,
does
the weed whacker
lots
motor.
yeah, pretty much. He took a motorcycle recently and converted it into a 3-wheeler just for the fun of it, just to have
I think
one.
I remember you telling me that.
He also took a lawnmower, riding lawnmower, and made it into a drivable, oh my God, picnic table.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you sit on the picnic table, motors at the back, and you steer in the middle with this steering wheel in the middle. Yeah.
That's funny. He's got to like put
got
that in a
trailer
parade or
hitch on it.
something.
Yeah, he did do it at a parade last year,
Oh.
but he's working on it. Yeah.
That's the way to go.
He also took a wheelchair, electric wheelchair, and a Hoyer lift from a hospital
Yeah.
and made it into a forklift.
Yeah,
For his
that would
garage.
that would work.
Yeah, it works. Works pretty good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't strong enough, so he built himself another forklift that carries like 2,000 pounds now or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that. Something
Jeez.
crazy. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. For scrap metal.
Man.
He likes projects. He also made a 7-foot long skateboard that's 250 cc that you steer with your feet.
Sounds safe.
Yeah.
I think this is all sounding very familiar. I believe we've talked about
No,
this already.
he made it manual transmission the first time he made it.
Even worse.
So as soon as he shifted, it took off and he just fell off and landed on the wheel.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. He changed it over to automatic after that.
Yeah. Well, at least he learned from his mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we got it on video, but I don't think I have that video. That was back when everyone didn't have a cell phone with a camera in their pocket.
Or if they did, it was like that super grainy,
Yeah.
basically just a webcam on the back of your phone.
Pretty much.
Jeez. I remember those days. Those were not good days.
There was, I had ideas for some hot seat questions to steal from people, but I didn't bother writing them down, so I don't have any.
Oh, ooh, I got away with a cool seat this time.
Cool seat.
Oh, huh?
The closest thing was your I just told you questions.
I got a hot seat for you. I watched all your YouTube videos, Derek, and now we're gonna.
I don't believe you.
No, but next month though.
You don't work from home.
But next month though. Yeah, I'm training someone I'm training someone this week, and I'm training someone next
so watch
week.
all my videos.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it in my
You
voice.
outsourced
My
it.
voice is a little lower today, a little bit scratchier maybe. It's not
Yeah.
because I'm sick. It's because I've talked more today than I have in the past forever because I've been talking and yelling at somebody all day. Not yelling because they're in trouble, it's just because everything around us is loud and I have to talk above it.
Yeah, I don't have that problem at work. I mean, propellers do get loud. But
Yeah. But you're not yelling over excavators and hydraulics and
Nope.
garbage and bins and
Nope.
yeah. So yeah, it's been quite the day. I haven't trained anybody in over a year, so it's like trying to flex that muscle again without
Yeah.
losing my cool.
At work, I just did training to become a trainer.
Oh, there you go.
I finished a course. It was, my friend did it anyway. Him and I have known each other for 15 years. So it's, or not 15 years, no. 15, 18, whatever the hell. I don't forget how long we've known each other. For 13 years, something like that. Anyway, and he did the trainer course for me and our director.
Oh, wow.
So the guy 2 steps above him. So we passed.
That's good.
But now I'm trained to be a trainer. So I had a day like that too, where we were the ones, the third day of training, we train some new people, basically.
Okay.
To prove that we know how to train. But that aside, you said bins, and it reminded me I went to Crazy Bins today.
Ooh.
I'm trying to grab my bag of stuff to see if there's anything worth talking. I don't think there really is, but it was $1 day at the Crazy Bins store. This is an Amazon pallet selling store where they take Amazon returns and put them in big bins, and people get to walk all over the store and search through the bins to try and find good stuff. So I got like this, like 50 foot? I don't know. Cat 7 network cable here, flat one too.
Okay, yeah.
For $1. That's not bad. I got this LED light controller that supports different colored LED lights, but it's also works with Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant.
Okay.
But I don't have any strips that didn't come with it. Someone already grabbed them, but I have some in the garage, so I can use those. And then I got this little power cord that just splits off your DC power cord into a whole bunch of other ones, which I use for powering LED lights and stuff, which I have in my garage because my lighting in the garage isn't good enough. Oh, also I went to Value Village, and there was a PS2 Slim power brick.
Nice.
For $3.99, and we had a coupon, so
Hey, even better.
we used a $2 off, $5 coupon with my wife's purchase there, which was $2. So that's good. And then I got just some random cigarette lighter adapters to try and fix my dad's cooler. And I got this thermometer, which is also a humidity sensor. You can't see it because my camera's being
black.
stupid. There's no lighting.
Oh yeah.
It's got stuff on it. But anyway, that was everything's $1 except for the stuff from the thing from Value Village. And then there was these, which are Oculus Quest 2 gun holders for the controller.
Oh wow.
I already have a set of these for Quest 1, but I have Quest 1 and Quest 2, and these were in a bag together. They were actually out, but I put them in a bag together because they obviously came together. And it was $1 for both.
Nice.
And as long as there's no flaws, I did look up this item just based on the name, like Oculus Quest 2 gun controller, whatever, and found this exact one on Amazon. It had meh reviews, but most of the people were complaining it was too heavy. I don't find it too heavy. I actually added weights to my Quest 1 one because I didn't like that it was too light.
Oh wow.
It didn't feel like a gun, right? So I took apart my other one and hot glued in some bolts and nuts to make it weigh more because I wanted it to have some weight to it. I mean, I don't want it to tire me out either, but at the same time, it's got to have some weight to it. So this one's a little bit better. It still doesn't weigh enough in my opinion, but it is definitely better than it was.
So what's the advantage of that other than trying to look cool?
It's to make it feel right in a shooting game.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for. So pistol whip is the big
Yeah.
one. And just having some weight behind the gun makes it feel a little more realistic to you. That's all.
Okay.
There's no other benefit really.
Okay. I was gonna say you're not even gonna see it because you got a headset on.
That's correct. And one person did a bad review just because of that. It's like, come on, man. You should have known that going in.
I can't.
If you didn't
see it.
know that, you should get out of here. Yeah, that's a ridiculous reason to give something a bad review. It doesn't look good because you can't see it anyway. Well, yeah, you knew that buying it. So anyway, I got to try those out and see if they fit. I just haven't done that yet because I just got them today and forgot they're sitting here. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Happy with that find, that's for sure. Especially because I wanted them anyway, because they do feel good on Pistol Whip. And Pistol Whip is a great VR game.
So I've heard. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because you can't play it.
Is it not on PSVR? It's on PSVR.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't remember. I was thinking it wasn't.
Pretty sure it is.
Right. If it's not, it should be. We'll find out.
So I don't know if you've heard about, this is very Ontario specific, but Ontario just announced like they're revoking all license plate stickers.
Yeah.
This coming a month after I just spent almost $500 renewing all of my stickers for the past 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want some money back?
Yes, I really do. I
already saw memes about people going out and spending money.
Oh my gosh.
Their money from the refunds.
Spend my sticker money?
Stuff. Yeah.
What makes me more upset is the fact that I waited out in the cold for 2.5 hours to pay for stickers.
But you didn't have to, because they weren't requiring people to do it yet. That's
no, they
the thing
were. That was like January 1st. You had to pay for the stickers.
No, I thought they extended it.
They extended it to like January 1st.
Okay. For some reason, I thought they extended it further, but I renewed mine back in sometime in the summer.
Yeah. So, anyways, it was. I'm getting two stories mixed up. I didn't wait outside for 2.5 hours, but I did wait for a long time in line to get my stickers, and paid so much money for it, and was annoyed because I was going to use I got a like a MasterCard gift card.
Yeah.
I was going to use that to pay for the stickers because it would have paid for pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
But then when I got to pay for it, they don't accept, because the gift card is a swipe. There's no chip in it. Service Ontario doesn't accept swipe cards. You can't swipe anything.
Weird.
So all of a sudden, my plan to spend all this money on a gift card now had to come out of my account.
Fine. Just give me the gift card.
And you get the
I'll
cash.
find something to spend it on.
So, anyways, thankfully I'm getting that money back.
I'll buy it at 20% off. Cash
I'm sure
value.
you would.
Yeah, that's what I already do with the Steam gift cards.
There you go. So, at least we're getting that money back, but at the same time, was super not impressed that it took this long. Or they should have just done it from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm sure it takes a lot of paperwork of some kind.
Yeah.
Not my job to know, but
I don't know. We'll see. In other life news, my family got COVID.
no.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like me. Like, you'd think of all the people who would have it would be me, but it was actually my youngest who was in daycare. He brought it home.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
So there's not much you can do about it. Like, I'm out and about. I'm wearing a mask. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing what I got to do at the same time. It's always the weakest link, right? So, not even that he was a weak link, but just the one spot where
the most exposure,
and not being masked, right? He's 2 years old. He's not wearing a mask, so not all day.
That's my kids can wear masks, right? My daughter's like 5, my son's 8.
Yeah,
so
they can do that.
They're
now.
wearing masks all day, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, almost no problem. Other than my daughter sticks it in her mouth to suck on it because that's just fun to do.
Flavor,
apparently.
you know. So, it was my wife wasn't feeling great, but then she tested herself and it was negative, and then I wasn't feeling great the next day and I tested and I was negative. And then the next day, my youngest had I had the day off, thankfully. And so I'm like, you know what? I was supposed to take him to daycare. I'm like, you know what? I got to stay home. It was a snow day for my oldest. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to take the youngest to daycare. I'm just going to keep him home. We'll just hang out at home. And he had a bit of just a sniffly nose. And so the next day was going to be back to daycare. So my wife's like, let's just test him. So we tested him. And that COVID line popped so fast. Like, it was they say...
Really?
They would say wait 15 minutes. It was like 10 seconds. That line was like there and solid. Just from a little runny nose. So
I've done... My work gets rapid tests and we can just go grab them.
Yeah.
It's been like that for like a whole year pretty much.
Yeah.
Since the rapid tests were first given to companies, we've had them. So I've been taking them whenever have anything,
Yeah.
or give them away to family and stuff. And we, before the schools had given them out, I had already taken several rapid tests, and so had my wife and kids, but no positives at all. And then just after Christmas, so we didn't go to my parents' place for Christmas, but my family all still got together. My parents, my brother, my other brother, my sister, all together just after Christmas. And we went up a few days before that just to visit my parents. And then we also visited my sister as a driveway visit, because I'm not going to get into that. But then visited my one brother as well, because they had stuff to give us, I think, kids' clothes, hand-me-down stuff. So we saw almost my whole family, and then they all got together a few days later, and my brother had just stayed at a hotel in Niagara Falls with some friends, and then went together with family, and then a few days later he's like, I'm not feeling good. And it was not possible to get a PCR test, right? So he described his symptoms and it sounded like COVID, but he took a rapid test and it was negative. So I said, wait 24 to 48 hours to take another one. And he had some from the kids from their school, but he didn't do it. But he said he lost his sense of smell. So he's like,
He definitely had
definitely
it.
COVID. So my dad also then felt sick the next day after he first started feeling sick. And my dad had no rapid tests because he has no children in school, right? But I'm like, why don't you get one from my sister? She's got 6 kids in her house. I'm sure they have rapid tests to spare. They're jumping between 2 houses, but still, I'm sure that they have rapid tests. So they did get rapid tests from them, and my dad took it, and he was negative. He also already has weak lungs from working on a farm his entire life, for most of his life. And he gets pneumonia almost every year from the cold, from being a truck driver and being out in the cold, and weak lungs already. So we were worried if he gets COVID, it literally could put him in a like,
put him in ICU.
Take an ICU, take out his lungs, all that crap. So he didn't do a second test, so we still don't know. No, he did a second test and it was negative. Yes, he did 2 tests and it was negative both times, but still could have missed it, right? Or the rapid tests are just not accurate anyway. It's what we keep hearing from a lot of people. But so my dad got over that, but still it affected him for a good 3-4 weeks, that he was on and off work and not feeling good and stuff like that. So and then my brother, he's sure he had it. And then 2 weeks later, it was over a month later, my sister's oldest daughter caught COVID as well, for sure, COVID positive. And I don't know what the story behind that was. I think it was she caught it from her boyfriend, so she stayed at his place while they were getting over it, like quarantining together.
Might as well.
She's like 16 years old.
Oh,
but that's a whole other thing. Her dad said it was fine, and parents are separated, so competition and such. But so there was definitely at least one positive case, and probably more, on my side of the family, which makes me glad we did not go up to Christmas to go see them all.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And most of the reason I don't want to go up is because we're worried we're going to bring it up, because we live in the city, they live in a small town, right? But at the same time, everyone in their small town is less cautious because we live in a small town. It's not going to happen to us. But the only people I know personally, or the first people I know personally, were in that small town that got COVID. Like, only people I knew personally that got COVID at the time, which was like early last year, was in that small town that they knew.
Yeah.
So it's kind of partially like, it makes you wonder whether the small town not worrying is a problem or not.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who knows? Well, I never tested, but I was definitely sick for 2 days. Like, that was a Thursday, and so I had Thursday off anyway, so I called in Friday. And then Friday, Saturday, I was feeling pretty sick, and the youngest, he had such a bad cough The rest of like his spirits were up and he was fine, but he was a little bit wheezy and coughing. So we're a little bit concerned on Saturday, like Friday, Saturday, we're a little bit concerned, but then
The daycare never called to say someone else was positive, or
we sent a message to daycare saying he's tested positive, so double check. And we've already had a scare there because daycare's daughter got it from school and brought it into the house while all the kids were there from daycare. So then all the kids had to go home for however many days. I think it's like 3 days and tested, and he didn't get it then, but he got it somewhere else. So
how terrible was doing the test on him?
he's good with it. He was okay. Like he kind of, I kind of hype it up. I'm just like, oh, it's gonna tickle. So
Yeah.
he doesn't really care. So, but yeah, same thing. Like we're struggling for tests. Like we were down to like we had 2, and so we had to do 1 for him the first time, and then it was positive. So at that point, we just assumed, okay, well, we all have it, right?
Yeah, at that time you can be pretty sure.
So
Just
and like
everybody
we can't. What are we
quarantined
gonna do? We can't isolate in the house. We can't isolate him from everybody else. He's 2 years old, right?
Yeah.
We can't isolate with one of us with him because the house just isn't set up for isolation.
And even if you did, which one do you pick, and who already has it for all you know?
And it just
right?
makes life heck for everybody else. Like the other person who's out has to make food for everybody, and then bring food to another room, and then
Yeah, she definitely should have picked you to be the one who's out making all the
yeah,
food.
absolutely. Thankfully, I was already the one sick though, so.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, then Saturday, Sunday, and then we were off Monday, Tuesday, and then I was back on Wednesday, I think. So it's only 5 days. You have to isolate.
Yeah, probably because you're vaccinated.
Yeah.
The recovery was faster, probably because of that.
So, it wasn't. I will say it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't the sickest I've ever felt in my life. So
Again, maybe because you're vaccinated, or
yeah.
because it was Omicron, or who knows? Yeah.
So, for reference, the most sick I've ever felt was when I had malaria when I lived overseas.
Oh God.
And I wanted to die. I literally wanted to die. It was definitely the worst I ever felt. Think about the worst flu you've ever had, and then times 10.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, it was absolutely disgusting. I wanted to lay in bed. I couldn't have lights on. Light hurt my eyes, so I couldn't read. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't. Not that we had TV anyway, but
Yeah.
like I couldn't do anything. I had my Walkman. I listened to my Walkman, but even then I had to have it really low because I had a headache the whole time. I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't. It was just the worst, the absolute worst.
Were you hospitalized, or this is all at home?
I was just at home, just in my room.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how they do it, right?
Yeah, there's
And how's
not
their
really a
medical
whole lot you can do
facilities
for it, unfortunately. So, and that was with us taking like malarial medication just to prevent it from getting us. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah, it's not fun. Would not recommend.
0
0
out of
10. Thumbs down.
I will try to avoid malaria
Yes, please do.
with all my being. What else? What else is new? I noticed you didn't want to jump on those Tonka trucks.
No Tonka trucks for me. I don't want
Google
people.
Photos thought you was you were Nick Frost.
I do not want people shutting my gas off anymore.
No, right? Nobody probably knows that story. I don't remember if you told it on here.
No, that was the old Not So
Just you.
Special. Go find the old Not So Special feed and listen to that one. that was the episode that put me on the map.
My son is getting into playing Starlink again.
Okay, good.
Because I got it for Switch.
Yeah.
I went to Good Time Games, right? That day we met up because I was near your place. And he had Starlink on the shelf, sealed, just the game for Switch. I asked him how much it was to like because I can't see the price on anything in there. He said it's $23.99. I said, oh, okay, never mind. He's like, what do you want to pay? I said, well, I'm pretty sure I've seen it for like, I said $10, and I should have said less, but he's like, you want it for $10?
Just move it.
Okay, fine. So he gets it for $10. I had also just bought the PSP dock charger as well.
That's the lowball someone less than half 50% of their asking price.
I should have said $5 because I'm pretty sure I've seen the game for $5.
Oh man.
But whatever. Like brand new when they were clearancing it, right?
Yeah.
I know Walmart had the whole thing with the game and all the things for $10 at one time.
Yeah.
They were all sold out by the time I went to get it. Or maybe I got it for... Maybe I didn't know. Maybe it wasn't the Switch version. Because I know the PS4 and Xbox One versions were cheaper at one time when they were clearanced. But I can't remember.
Yeah.
Who remembers these things?
You should.
Let alone
it's
why
not
do I
like
need
you have a
more than one copy
spreadsheet or
of it?
something.
Yeah, but I don't have spreadsheets of prices I've seen.
Well,
Only
you
what I've
should.
bought. What do you think I am, Eric?
Yes.
I'm not Eric's spreadsheet level.
So
I would have no time if I was.
I've been playing Mario Odyssey with my oldest,
Yes, yeah.
and he's getting pretty good at it. I'm very impressed, actually. He's getting over his fear of the enemies. I'm actually making him do more of the platforming. Like normally I would just take over, but now I'm saying,
Yeah.
you need to do it. At least you need to try. Even if you can't do it, then I will come and help you. You need to try once. So
Nice.
we were on the frozen level, the winter one today.
Yeah.
And there's the little shadow creatures that hide in the snow. So as you go over top of them, then they come up and they chomp, and you have to use them as an elevator to get up to higher platforms at some point. To kind of
I
push
don't
you
even
up.
remember this.
It's like the opposite of like a thwomp, basically.
It's been years since I played, but still.
Yeah, you would recognize it when you see it.
Probably.
Anyways, he was just like almost terrified of it. So I managed to get him
Oh.
through it. And then he got to a point where he just was getting frustrated and he was like almost in tears. I'm like, okay, I'll step in. So, but he was just so scared of these things. But I kind of showed him the trick to how to get through them, and then he wasn't scared of them anymore. But
Good.
he's good. I'm very impressed for a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd
My
be.
daughter loves Splatoon. She's been loving Splatoon lately.
Oh yeah, that's good.
On Wii U, yeah.
On the Wii U even.
Yeah, we don't have it on Switch. We have a #1 on Wii U. So
Is it still active online?
yeah, they still were playing matches.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. So now they're talking. My son and my daughter are talking together about saving up their money for when Splatoon 3 comes out,
Oh.
so they can play it together.
Ooh.
It's pretty funny. My son was just telling me that today.
Where are they getting this money from?
Birthdays, Christmas, and they've been doing chores to get money.
Okay.
Like, go put the laundry in, change the laundry over. My son, get him to unload the dishwasher, set the table. I don't remember what
Just
else.
whatever, yeah.
Lots of jobs my wife keeps thinking of coming for him to do. Basically, things she doesn't want to do anymore, right? Vacuum the floor after a meal, like, because they're kids. They don't eat
There's a mess,
without
yeah.
making a mess. Yeah. Wipe the table down, right?
I have a dog for that. So,
Your dog wipes the table? No.
he's really good. We just lift him up there. Here you go. Let him go to town.
Nice.
He does the dishes too.
So, you know how I don't need another hobby?
Sure.
You know that?
You
I
have
started
quite a
another
few.
hobby. I started screen sharing with you here. So I have begun building.
I'm not seeing your screen.
I shared it. You have to go to it, right?
Do you?
Yes. I have begun
Oh, there we go.
with individually addressable LEDs and a Raspberry Pi to control it. So the
Okay.
LEDs can be programmed to do patterns, animations, or go to music. So I've months that I've been ordering parts and stuff and putting it together slowly and trying to do it. It's going well. I've got a Raspberry Pi. I've figured out how to get it working. I had to convert the signal voltage. I did it with an Arduino first as well, and then I also. Come on, why is my mouse freezing up? It was really weird. I did some.
I'm only seeing the Discord, by the way.
Sorry?
On your I'm only seeing the Discord.
Oh, it must be a window sharing, not a screen sharing. Sorry.
I'm also hearing myself when I talk. It's very
That's
interesting.
weird.
I'll just mute.
Come on.
Mute myself?
Why is my mouse freezing? That is so weird. So annoying. Okay, I shared just the Discord, not the screen. Now we're sharing the screen. And then started playing with
Oh, there we go.
Raspberry Pi. So I've got the LEDs. You can do
Nice.
patterns. You can do trails. You can do all these kinds of things with these LEDs. So I ordered 500 LEDs, which should be more than enough to do the house. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I should only need 200 LEDs for each floor of the house.
So you're gonna be the house with the music
Main floor
playing and the house and the lights flashing.
Maybe. I don't know. So I have a coworker who is in Heidelberg. Have you heard of Heidelberg Lights?
Yep.
The house with the awesome lights that play the music in Heidelberg?
Yep.
That's my coworker who's now retired. But
Okay.
that's his house. And I talked to him about what he did, and then I started looking into it, and basically he threw money at the problem, but he still did cool stuff. But I'm trying to do it as DIY as possible. So right around Christmas, I did a strip of just 100 lights and started playing around with that with Arduino. And then I'm like, okay, well, with Raspberry Pi, it's way more controllable. So I've started doing the Raspberry Pi thing and can do it to music now. The community there's a big community, lots of people in it, and it seems good, but it's just the documentation's so bad. It's so out of date. It's hard to get any answers without talking to a person who's done it before. And even when you do, they still like, why don't you just spend money and buy a pre-made thing? It's like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it the way I want to do it, and because it's capable, and be proud of doing it myself and being cheap, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I'm doing now, and I was just playing with it last night. I was up till like 1:30 in the morning messing around with it. Just wiring up, like basically taking the connectors that came on the LEDs, cutting it off, and putting on waterproof connectors instead, like waterproof automotive connectors,
Yeah.
like just a 3-plug connector. So yeah, that's what I've been doing with my time, which I shouldn't be doing and should be doing other things, but
Man, you
It's
have so much
fun.
time lately.
no. I want to be able to, when spring comes, put it up. Basically.
Yeah.
So
That'd be
I'm
the best
trying to
time,
get
right?
like,
And you're not doing it like a week before Christmas and
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I want to be able to use it for other holidays other than just Christmas. Like it's Halloween, fine, we're putting Halloween light patterns on, or we're gonna play music and do that because I'm all set up to do the music too. It's just normally when you're doing music, you have props on your lawn as well,
yeah.
not just the 2 strips of lights. Because it's not that
Yeah.
interesting to have music or lights go to music when it's just the ridge of your house, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Still cool. I was messing around with it and did to Billie Jean and had the music go with the lights go with the music, and it works
Yeah.
really cool, even just in a straight line. But yeah, my neighbors are gonna hate me, I think. But they're gonna like it, but if I make it too bright, like everybody says, you basically only use 30% brightness, or else your
Yeah,
neighbors will be
I
mad at
believe
you.
it. Do the one special night where you do 100%.
Yeah, it's
Light of
possible.
the
I was running
neighborhood.
at 70% testing last night just to see, try and push it to the limits and see what I have to do for wiring.
Yeah.
Because every like 150 lights, you have to put power back into the line
Okay. Yeah.
because the power fades out because it gets used up. So Yeah, figure all that stuff out. It's fun.
Fun. Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, fun. It's fun work. Raspberry Pi is fun. Electronics is fun. Soldering and yeah. The not fun is dealing with like faulty connectors, or I pulled out one strip of lights that was 50 lights, plug it in, and there's clearly a wire break somewhere in between because it cuts out at one spot. Wiggle the wire, it starts working again. I'm like, oh man, that's what you get when you buy the cheap stuff, right?
Get what you pay for.
Yeah, I got extra lights, so I'm not too worried, but and I can also cut them up and do different lengths to do props on the lawn or to surround a window or
Yeah, I was
whatever
gonna say
else.
you can customize them.
Yeah, yeah. The way I'm doing it, I can only do 2 channels of lights, which is only going to do me like, well, in theory it goes up to 2,000 lights, like 1,000 lights per strip, per channel. But I don't know if the signal will go that far or not. I don't know how far the signal will go yet without boosting it along the way, which you can buy things to boost the signal. But again, I'm trying to avoid buying things if I don't have to.
Yeah.
Because there's also controllers that let you do like 16 channels of lights. So you could do 16,000 lights. But again,
wow.
I don't want to have to do that. That's what that coworker of mine has, is like a crazy one. And on the Facebook group, he's one of the experts that they say to ask if you have questions. Like, he's really into it.
Yeah. But not too into it to do it himself.
Well, yeah, but he's still done a lot. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
built props
No,
and stuff
I know.
himself, but he's just not doing the wiring and the stuff himself is the big thing that I'm doing. Yeah.
Man. Sounds like you got a lot of work ahead of you.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad, or else I wouldn't be doing it. But once I get the lights up on the main floor of the house, which is the only place I have Christmas lights now anyway, I could just leave it at that and be done. But at that point, I'm going to want to do the second tier, the second story of the house.
Yeah, you might as well complete it. Do the whole thing.
Which, when I'm done that, then I could easily be done. And that's all I have the signal for anyway, basically. To get it any further than that and bring the wire, like the signal back down, because you have to run each channel in a straight line for the data line. You could re-inject power, but the data line has to be straight for that channel. And I only have 2 channels using Raspberry Pi without an ad on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it limits me, and I probably won't ever do props because of that. Like, like a glowing tree or a smiley face thing that, or a screen. You can do like an LED pixel display that's like 150 lights by 150 lights in a square, and then make it work like just basically like a computer monitor.
Yeah.
You can play videos on them. You can do GIFs, whatever you want. Yeah.
You got to use that that floppy drive.
I know, that's a whole nother problem if I wanted to use that.
Hang that in your front window. There you go.
I'd have to adapt the protocol that uses to the modern protocols, and that would be the problem. I already thought about this, Josh.
Play your GIF on that.
Yeah, I should already be able to do that, but it's not working. I already have a tool to convert it, and it's not working.
Oh, man. Well, good thing it didn't cost anything.
Yeah, exactly. I can get it to display the thing that was originally on there from the pet store.
Yeah.
I actually fixed it. I made a copy of the floppy disk, and that copy works flawlessly without an error.
Okay. So it actually
I don't know
will
how.
work.
Copying the floppy fixed the corruption. But
Which is probably why that whole thing was thrown out, because of that corruption.
yeah, I could have just saved that sign for them. Maybe I should just bring it back to them.
Here you go.
They probably
You want
bought a
this
new
back?
one by now. They probably put
Where
a
did you
TV
get
up.
this?
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Well, is that an episode?
We're not even at 3 hours yet.
Well, we got to cut this short, you know. People have been complaining about how long our episodes are.
I was up till almost 2 a.m. last night, so maybe I should be going to bed at midnight.
It's probably snowing so bad out right now that work's probably going to be canceled tomorrow, but we shall see.
That doesn't cancel my work.
The bonus. It's probably not going to cancel mine either, but There's a chance. There's a hope and a prayer. We'll cross our fingers.
You're saying there's a chance.
That's what you're saying. There's a chance. So, well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening to this very not special episode of Not So Special Podcast.
So special.
I am Josh. You can find me on YouTube at Creep1337 or Creep1337 on Twitter. And Derek?
I'm Derek. You can find me places at what my Twitter is. I have this every time. DEGE13 is my Twitter. I always doubt that that's it because Instagram is not. That's fine. Just go to Twitter if you want to see me, talk to me. I don't know.
Yeah, we're also on Twitter. Not So Special. At Not So Special. I remembered.
And what are we on YouTube?
I think we're Not So Special Podcast on YouTube.
I think so.
I think I got that right this time.
I should have brought a tab up open with that.
Didn't even have to look it up. That's all from memory.
It is snowing out, and the car in the driveway looks like it's covered in ice.
Lovely.
So, just so you know.
And I have to train a new driver tomorrow in this.
That'll be fun.
Good luck.
They have their license?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a
they
whole
know how to
different
drive,
process.
just not.
It's just the process of putting bins in people's driveways without damaging anything in the snow. Great.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. We'll be all right. All right. Thank you, everyone, again, and we'll see you all in a month.
If not sooner. Bye.